Hello everyone. Oh, look at that. I gotta change a couple things here. It's been a while since I've live streamed. I was recording a bunch of episodes today. My cat is losing her mind because she's insane. What if I hate that? Oh, that'll work. I guess. Alright, that'll work. Okay. Okay. Stupid thing. My cat is freaking out, even though I put her inside because it's freezing outside, but she's absolutely hating it right now. I'm like, can't you just like sleep somewhere? That's not what cats do. It's just like sleep somewhere. Especially when they're like, I don't know, 16 years old. So, all right. Let's jump into it. I don't know what I was just thinking. I'm like, I don't know what to really. I think I'm gonna continue this guy. So I created him as like a reforged character, and I wanted to kind of play through the game with him. Um, Not worried about because this is my Doom's Covenant and Melandri's Accord character right here. So we could play him at some point too, but I think I just want to kind of play through this guy with this guy. Is this new that they have this on the side over here? I feel like I've never noticed that. Anyways, I was just playing through with this character, and I had just last night finished up Divinity Coast. I only did the main mission here. I didn't do the bonus. At some point in time, I'll come back and explore all of these areas and stuff. But I just kind of wanted to level through with this character. And we're actually at the point, I think, where a lot of these characters are high level. So that's really good. But yeah, I'm using Together as One. So I actually ventured all the way out here to get Together as One. Which is one of the newer, quote unquote, newer elite skills. I mean, these are like, what, almost 10 years old now, too? Feels like. I think they're only like 6 years old or something, but still, this one is really, really strong because all party members near you or your pet deal 15 more damage. With attacks and gain 7 health regeneration. So I'm using that as like a physical attacker thing. But yeah, we're gonna kind of venture through and see. Just hanging out, just kind of chilling out. I don't really have an agenda for today. We're just gonna kind of go through and play a little bit. See how people are doing. Oh, there's no sound. Let's turn on the sound. There we go. Kind of loud, isn't it? Let's do it halfway down. Seems really loud. I hope you guys are doing good. I had a very, very busy weekend. Can't even speak. Very busy weekend. I was working a lot. And today, I recorded 5 or 6 episodes of Tainted Grail. So there's more episodes coming out. I'm gonna try to do like daily uploads and just keep going with it every single day. So that's kind of the goal for me. So I'm probably gonna record some more. Not tomorrow. I want to do some other stuff tomorrow for the channel. But probably Wednesday I'm gonna record some more episodes and have at least like 7 or 8 episodes ready to go that I can just kind of upload and release so that we have daily uploads to the channel. And I want to do tomorrow, what I want to do tomorrow is I want to work on some, there's one more short that I want to work on, and there's one more video for Guild Wars 2 actually. I know we haven't done a Guild Wars 2 video in a while. I'm working on a Guild Wars 2 video. Nothing great, nothing grand, because as you guys know, I kind of gave up on those. I don't do those anymore. But yeah, just something, something small. something that doesn't take me that much time to really get into and do. So, but yeah, I was kind of thinking about doing an ESO today, but then I'm like, we've been doing so much ESO for the live streams. I did play more ESO. Romance options. Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Yeah, no. See, that was the thing that I really disliked in Guild Wars 2 when they started doing the, you know, that was... I know that a lot of people, when it came to, like, the tunnel and stuff, they were upset about, oh, you know, the tunnel in Yellow Delve is just, oh, it's so boring and stuff like that. That's not even what pissed me off the most, because I don't really care about that part of it, right? What really pissed me off the most is that half of the content in the actual story was us trying to romance the characters. And it started turning into like a dating simulator. And I'm like, are we really like using the limited resources that ArenaNet has on this game to create a dating sim? I'm like, that's really not what Guild Wars has ever been. And that was really something that really made me angry. It wasn't really the tunnel itself. I'm like, I can excuse that because, you know, oh my god, Chosen Villagers. We gotta follow the Chosen. Sadra, come back. So it wasn't really the act of, hey, we only have the tunnel and that's all we have for the content. Like, I get it, right? There was a lot happening at the time, so I could excuse it, but then they put so much effort into, like, the dating part of it that really pissed me off. I was like, well, you clearly had resources to spare if that is your focus, and that's what really got to me, you know? Alright, so we're in the wilds. But the other half of Gala was us dealing with our inner demons, figuring out shit. I like that part. I mean, and that was good, right? There was, like, a good intro, but that completely fizzled out into absolutely nothing. It didn't mean anything. It didn't do anything. And it just really, like I said, it just really pissed me off in the sense that, you know, they had started something that could have been really, really cool and could have really made, like, I've seen these everywhere. I don't know if these are, like, this is a level 2 character. They're everywhere, these guys. They're everywhere. They're looking for group, and they're all, like, numbered. So this is 11. There's, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. I've seen so many of these guys hanging out. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I'm guessing they're bots, but I don't know what kind of bots. Has a pattern of failing with flat with endings. I mean, yeah, and the thing is that, you know, and I've talked about this before. One thing that really bothers me about ArenaNet is that they, you know, and I am giving them a lot of credit. I will say, like, I have been giving them more and more credit because they're really trying to listen to the player base, right? But the player base has been, exactly like you said, has been crying about, rightly so, I'm not saying that it's like unfounded at all, but have been crying about the endings on a lot of the things. A lot of the expansions fall flat. A lot of the you know, the core game ending was crap. I think the only one they really did well, I mean, there's been a couple of endings. I think the ending to season 3 wasn't too bad. It kind of left with like a oh my god, that's crazy kind of thing. The ending to season 4 was fantastic. I think that was one that they did really, really well. The ending to Path of Fire was really, really good. I think the ending to Heart of Thorns was really, really good. So there are some endings that they season 1, I think that ending was really, really good. Season 2 was not bad. I think season 2 was pretty decent. But yeah, I think overall, like, ArenaNet needs to listen more. I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people have been disappointed by are the endings to their expansions and to their games, because they put so much effort into the initial of everything, and then it fizzles out because they can't maintain it because of one reason or another. I mean, my guess would be that it has to do with developer crunch and like them just getting really just pushed really hard, and then by the end of that year cycle they become very exhausted, and they can't maintain this workforce anymore, like the amount of effort that they put into that, and they then kind of it fizzles out because ArenaNet is like, hey, we're all about like having a good work-life balance kind of thing, and so we don't want our developers to be exhausted all the time and stressed out and sleep deprived and things like that, and so they kind of become lax in that, and then the ending kind of falls flat because then they're like, well, we can't actually deliver a good ending because of all that. So I don't know. Season 3 and 4 were so long ago when you compare it to everything. Oh, of course. Oh, I know. It's kind of crazy because I know a lot of people hate it, or there was a big chunk of people that disliked End of Dragons. But let's be real, End of Dragons was way better than anything we've gotten now, right? And so everything in perspective, right? It's like, in the moment, a lot of people complain about certain things, but it's like if you compare it to stuff that's coming out later, that's coming out now, it's actually kind of good, right? End of Dragons is compared to many of the expansions that we have seen was actually kind of good. Had a really good ending, right? We ended the Dragon Saga. We got a conclusion to the whole Dragon Saga. We got a good boss battle at the end, both open world and in instances. We got some decent endgame stuff there. We had some strikes, mind you, there were strikes. They weren't like, raids or anything, but there was some decent endgame stuff. It wasn't like all reused stuff. There was some new things in there. We got some interesting enemies. We got some character development on a lot of different parts, Mai Trin, for example, I really thought she was developing to be a good character. I really hated that they killed her off. So there was a lot of really good things. I think that, the maps, I think, overall were really good. I think they could have done better with New Kaineng specifically. I've talked about that many times. But I think when we compare it to something that we get now, I think the only one that I can kind of compare is Visions of Eternity. I think Visions of Eternity right now is doing really well. I like the new maps. I like the new things that they're adding with it. But that it took 3 years for them to get to that point is kind of sad, in my opinion. Right? Like, I think they could have done a lot better, a lot sooner, if they had just listened to the player base a little bit more. But ArenaNet has always been the company that doesn't want to listen to the player base because they think that they're the developers and that they know better what's best for their game. Right? And they've proven over and over again that that is not true. Yet they're the only ones that haven't realized that. So, but hey, it is what it is. Hopefully they, better late than never. If they learn the lesson and they make their expansions better, that's good. I would be happy with that. Obviously, I think I'm at the point where I just want them to stop with Guild Wars 2. I know that a lot of people are just, oh, yeah, I'm done with Guild Wars 2. I think I'm at that point where I'm like, you know what? People are so disengaged with Guild Wars 2, with the actual, like, content of it. The only ones that are really, really enjoying it now, like, truly are enjoying it, because so many of the veterans, I'm not saying that the veterans aren't enjoying it, but so many of the veterans have that same mindset where they sit there and they say, you know what, it was better then and then. It was better before. It was better at this point. It was better there. It was better there. And they're not saying that because they want to be assholes or they want to be whatever. They're saying that because it's genuinely that's how they feel, and that's, they're not getting as much enjoyment out of it anymore. And I think the only people that are truly enjoying this game are new people that are coming to the game, right? And I just think that there's plenty of content for new people to play. I just think that with what they're adding, I don't think they're satisfying the veteran players that have stuck around for like 13, 14 years. And I think it's just time for them to move on. I'm really ready for Guild Wars 3. Like, this has been on my mind for a long time now, and it's become more and more. Like, there was a point where I was like, nah, Guild Wars 3, no. But I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, ArenaNet, you need to do Guild Wars 3. It's time to just, you know, you can leave the servers running, you can have the game still going, but I think it's time to move on, so. And hopefully they don't think adding people like Bogotter and Roy, who used to be Guild Wars 2 players and now employees, isn't all they need. They still need to listen to most of us. Well, and that's the thing. But that's the thing is, you know, the ArenaNet. There's a couple, and I've pointed it out so many times. There's a couple of things that ArenaNet as a company is just failing at really hard, and they have been failing at it. And it's almost at the point where it's rudimentary, because I'm like, it's been pointed out to you God knows how many times by people, and you still refuse to acknowledge that that is the problem that you have. So it's kind of like ArenaNet can't get better if they're not moving past these points, you know? And I think one of them is when they make a mistake, they need to admit that they have made a mistake. That if they release something that's shit, they need to admit to it. They need to admit, hey, this was shit. We released this, it's not good, and we just need to move on with our lives from there. Like, we're gonna learn lessons from that. But the few times that they have done this over the years, the handful of times, and always like, there's always like some stupid excuse or some kind of like, you know, they never really fully acknowledge it. They're just like, it's like hand wavy, where they're like, yeah. But, you know, we have this new grand thing coming, so it's gonna be way better. Right? And it's like, that's not really what that means, you know? To better yourself and better your product, you have to acknowledge that the wrongdoings and the wrong things that you have done. You know, so I think that is one part. And then I think that is the most important part, acknowledging when you really have, I don't know if messing up is the right term, but like when something doesn't really sit well, right, and acknowledging that they always, the thing is with ArenaNet, they always want to take the best out of everything. They want to take the best away from everything, right? They could sit there and say, well, you know, Ice Saga, you know, the Champions releases, they weren't really, you know, but we've learned from this, you know? It's like we've learned like the good things, the good parts, from the good parts, what really landed. It's like, no, you really need to acknowledge that it was shit, right, at the time. Like the Gala Delve, the second release, you really need to acknowledge that that was shit. You know, because that's the thing. I'm one of those people that I will always acknowledge when I have messed up, when I have done something wrong, and I wished more people did that, right? I'm so honest to a fault that when someone, you know, says something to me, and I, you know, I know when something is malicious, and someone could even say something malicious to me and they don't even mean for me to get better at it, but if I acknowledge that they are correct in some way, I will admit to that 100%. I'll be like, you know what, you're right, I did that and I'm gonna try to do better. So a lot of companies aren't gonna admit something is shit blatantly because they're all PC and woke and want to sugarcoat, and that kind of sucks to me, you know. I don't know, I admire people and companies that can really stand up and say, yeah, we messed up, this isn't what we wanted it to be. Like Nintendo is one of those companies that never acknowledges when they do something like that, right? They like just release something, and if something doesn't land, they're just silent about it, you know. And I think the rose-colored glasses of having these Nintendo exclusives and things like that has really just fallen to the wayside. Like Pokemon, right? The Pokemon company is a huge one, right? I was just thinking about that today, where they're spending, you know, a fraction of the money a fraction. I mean, I'm talking about like a % of the money they could possibly invest in a game, right? They invest that in there, release a new game, and they're just like 100% behind it, you know? Nintendo is 100% behind it. Fanboys are 100% behind it. They'll play the shit out of the game. Like, I talk to friends that tell me, they're like, hey, did you play ZA? Did you know, do you want to like, do you want to like, you know, trade or whatever, like battle sometime. And I'm like, no, I didn't play ZA because I'm I've given a Pokemon enough chances to make good games, and they continuously make shit games. I'm done giving them money because they choose not to invest into their games that's making them billions of dollars a year. Literally billions of dollars a year. They're refusing to invest even a fraction of that money into it. No, I'm done giving them money. I don't care. I will pirate their games. I don't care because they're just, now the Fire Red and Leaf Green games are coming out for $20. I'm like, are you kidding me? These are 25-year-old games that you refuse to release on like Nintendo Switch Online, like the online service, and you just want to squeeze more money out of your customers. No, I'm not buying that. I'm sorry, I'm not. Absolutely not happening. Not happening. So, and that's like a perfect example there, where I just I'm good. I'm gonna start, like, I'm really starting, and it's not a conscious decision. I'm gonna be honest. It's just I'm really falling more in love with these like indie companies, with these smaller companies that are trying to do their best, that are going out of their way to deliver good gaming experiences, even on the small budgets that they have, and that acknowledge when they've done something that might not be perfect, and just that acknowledge that and say, hey, we're gonna try to do better, and and that there you can see the passion, right? The passion that they have for these projects that they're releasing. Is that it? Why is there a friendly spider there? You guys see that? That's kind of weird. Is she gonna turn evil now, or what's going on there? Is there like a time limit? Did I have a time limit? No, I don't know where that spider went. Giving Blizzard my money one more time with this words like this, but secondly, Blizzard, since a different company taking over and handling all of that, new act might be added now as well. Yeah, I saw that. I saw the trailer for that, and yeah. Oh, look, there's another looking for group guy. This is looking for group 10. Oh, actually, this lady is. Yeah, no, I'm not giving Blizzard my money. I don't care. I'm not even giving it to their... I'm sure they're getting a cut of it. What is going on here? What are these? Where did these come from? These are not bad. Poisonous. Okay. That's kind of weird. I don't know where that came from. That's actually really good bow. The damage while hex is the only thing that's not good, but the energy and marksmanship, I don't know. None of those are actually really good. Is that and that's on a max damage thing anyway, so I'm just gonna sell that. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not, even if I was a big Diablo 2 player, I'm not even gonna entertain that. I'm not giving them my money. I'm not giving money to an IP that I really don't like, that keeps delivering shit, and they're just doing whatever they want because of their shareholders. Like, it's really about voting with your wallet, and I don't know. Maybe I've become too bitter of a person, but I want my gaming experiences to be fun, and I had like a really good time with Kana, and I'm really hoping that it's what Ember Light or something is the company, that they're doing a good job with the second one. It has me curious on their true plans for future, giving all current DLCs free over the course of until the one thing we need to purchase whatever the newest content will be. Ember Labs, that's what it is. Is that their plan? Is that their plan to giving all the free content out over the next couple of years? I mean, I guess that would be kind of nice. Like, I've been playing, obviously I've been playing Tainted Grail, right? And it's so crazy because the experience that I have with it, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not a fan of Skyrim, okay? I've played Skyrim, like, probably hundreds of hours of Skyrim, and I'm just not a fan of it. I've tried it many different times, I've tried it on different platforms, I've tried it in different times in my life, I've tried it with different mods, I've tried it with different builds. I've tried to just like approach it, and there's been times where I've gotten into it, but I feel like it's so overpraised. And now that I'm playing like Tainted Grail, which is almost like, you know, in a way, it's kind of like a knockoff. Oh my god, it's crazy to think that like how much better of an experience I have, considering that that game was created by, as far as I understand it, I haven't really looked into it, but a much smaller team. And I have a way better experience with it. Like, a way better experience. And that people are still sitting there and saying, like, oh, Skyrim, Skyrim. I'm like, I don't understand why people are buying it for the upteenth time on, like, the newest console because they gotta have Skyrim. Like, do you understand that there's other games out there that do really well, that are cheaper, that are just as interesting, you can get the same experience out of, the same fun out of, and you're not just throwing money at a company that's taking over a decade to create another game, even though they have millions of dollars at their disposal to make these games happen. It's so weird to me. I don't know. I don't get that. I mean, obviously there's certain things that, yeah, I'm putting money towards as well, because I want to have those experiences, but I don't know. I've really leaned away from those bigger companies, slowly, more so. I prefer ESO so far, and that's coming from an old school player of Morrowind and Oblivion. Why I'm not overhyped or excited for Elder Scrolls 6? I'm just not. I'm fine with sticking to ESO. Yeah, I don't know. I just that's the thing. Is like, for so many years now, and you, the thing is, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because we already have so many games that have released, and this has become more prevalent over the years because gaming companies are all about pleasing their shareholders and, you know, the people in charge, and making sure that the CEOs get their bonuses and that they can live in their $1 million mansions and stuff like that, so that you know, they you know, they hire people that are maybe not passionate about the projects and stuff like that, and that, you know, it's all mismanaged and all this stuff. It's happened so many times now where these games that have been in development for over a decade come out, and they're completely just like garbage, and people aren't willing to, they're just like, this is awful, right? We see this happening with like Ashes of Creation. There's a huge thing going on, if you guys haven't kept up with that. There's like a huge, like, there's going to be lawsuits for they're talking about, it's a $140 million scam that they created, like all this stuff. I mean, this is like happening so much so, right? And to me, where I'm coming from when I say like self-fulfilled prophecy is like, that's already in my head, that that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to come out, and it's going to completely flop, or it's going to be completely awful, and then it's going to take all these people in the community to make mods to fix the game, and then people are going to run around praising Elder Scrolls 6 for being this amazing game, but you have to install like a dozen mods to make it even a decent experience. And it's like, to me, that doesn't mean that the game is good. Like, if I can't enjoy the base game, and if the base game is clunky and feels awful and it's not interesting to me and not fun, and your leveling system is boring and your magic system is boring and like all these things, and everyone tends to make the same build because you don't have any balance in your game, and there's one build that's super overpowered over the rest of them, then, you know, then that's not a good game. You can't say that, okay, well, if I install, you know, 25 different mods, now it's a great game. That doesn't mean that it's a good game. You know what I mean? And so And I feel like that's what ES6 is going to turn into, right? Like, I feel like that's what it's going to be. And I don't want it to be that, but I feel like it's going to be that, right? And so, I don't know. I just think that, you know, I don't know. It's just, the large companies have really moved away from creating games for gamers. They create games for their pockets. And that's a huge shame. I'm so sad about that because I have been a gamer for 30 years now. You know, I've been playing video games for 30 years now, and I want them to be great experiences, and I want them to be incredibly fun. But it's, I don't know. It's, the bigger companies have really been disappointing. And you know, ArenaNet has been one of those that have released great games over the last, you know, couple decades, and I really, really like it. But it's also for them. I don't know. There's been a lot of things over the last year that I've seen through, like, with the company, happening with the company and stuff like that, that just kind of make me lean away from that. I'm not saying that they're part of that group, but they have other things that make me kind of hesitant to 100% praise them on everything now, you know? If they make ES6 at all like Fallout 76, I'm calling it now, it'll be dead on arrival. It'll self-cannibalize. ESO is already online, so ES6 needs to be completely offline single player. Single player, yeah, it's gonna be another game where modding community makes it better. I'll fuck it up. Yeah, and I don't know. I have a feeling that it's gonna be overdeveloped. I think a lot of big games nowadays have the problem of they get developed and then they get torn into too many different directions, where it's like, oh, we want to do this with our game, and 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 it's like, okay, you know, but then they don't focus on the core things, right? And they're not that's always something that I think that Nintendo did really well, is that they understand, like, all the Nintendo developers, they understand that they have a game, and this is how the game plays, and they want to have like a main gameplay loop and like a main mechanic, or maybe a set of main mechanics, and that's kind of how what we build the game around, and we make like interesting levels, and we, you know, do all these things. And that's how the Nintendo games usually are, right? They're very simple at their core because they don't overdo everything, right? You don't go into you know, a Mario game and it's all of a sudden a dating sim, right? Like, on top of the collectibles that you have to get and all the different things that you have to do and like the levels you have to go through, right? Like, that's what a lot of companies are doing now. It's like they try to do too many things, you know, and it's like, stop trying to do too many things. Like, focus on the, like, come up with a really good concept and a really good mechanic and kind of focus on that and try to branch out on that. That's one thing that Kena did really well, right? That's like one of the things that I really, really appreciated with on the Kena playthrough. Was that they really had like this core mechanic and this core idea, and they took that and they expanded on that more and more and more, and they made like a really interesting game that didn't need to have a giant scope, that didn't need to have all of these different systems layered on top of systems, layered on top of other features and systems and things, you know. It's like, it's the Lost Ark thing over and over again, right? The Lost Ark thing that I've talked about, where it's like I log in and I'm overwhelmed because I have 75 menus that are all flashing at me. They're all saying, oh, click me, click this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And it's like, no, we're not doing this. To make focus on games as an online service, but there's nothing wrong with that if it's done correctly, you know, because I think there's ways that you can have online games. Gotta be online just to play a single player experience. Well, that's kind of stupid. I mean, that part of it, right? Like, where you have to be online to play a single player game, that to me is really, really stupid. I really love those like birds that fly around. Make it feel like a really, like, a cool wasteland that you're out on. Oh, that's the one I took last time. Oh, hello. Hasn't been done correctly. I don't know. I mean, I feel like when you look at something like Elden Ring, for example, I think that they did really well there. there's an online experience. There's like there's like a limited multiplayer that you can play. There's you know, you can leave messages for other people when you're online, right? It's a single player experience, but you still get a little bit of that MMO feel because you see the phantoms of other people walk by. You can look at the blood stains on the ground and see how a character died. You can read their messages, you know, and you can summon other people to help you in battles. You have you know, you can be invaded by other people and make it like a multiplayer experience that way, where, you know, you're trying to go through a dungeon, you're getting attacked by some guy that's invading you or whatever, right? Like, to me, that's done really well, and there, it makes sense to me. It's a single player game, but there was a reason for the online, because the online part of it enhances the core game of it, right? It doesn't ruin it in any shape or form, or it doesn't not add anything. I think it adds something to it, right? It makes it a fuller experience, in my opinion. So I think Dark Souls doesn't count. They've always done the online part, right? I mean, how does that not count, though? They've always done... I mean, just because they've always done that correctly doesn't mean that it doesn't count. That clearly still counts, because they've just always done it right. Just no one has been ever able to do that in their single-player experience. You know what I mean? I think the Mario game, what is it, what is it, Super Mario Wonders or whatever that was? I think that was an interesting way to do it as well. I didn't play it myself, but obviously I've watched other people play it, and I think they did really well there, because there was like, again, it was kind of the same thing. You could play with other characters in the map, in the levels. You had the little standy thingies where you could, you know, where someone could leave a standee for you and you could get revived by it, and you see other people walking around the world and stuff. It kind of enhanced the experience a little bit, you know. That I like that. I think that's pretty cool. I think that was done really well, where it just enhances your experience, but it doesn't take anything away from it, you know. But examples of doing it horribly: Lost Ark, Diablo 4, Destiny 2. How is Destiny 2 doing the online stuff wrong? I mean, to me, I don't think that the online part there is done really wrong, because you have an open world where you can play with other people, or you can invite them to group up with you. I don't know how it's bad, you know. So definitely, they've done online stuff for Dark Souls before online as a service even a thought. Yeah, but they've kind of kept with it because it works. So I think, you know, maybe they were the ones that introduced all of it. I think they did great with it, and I think more companies should do it like that. I think, you know, I mean, and it kind of does well with it as well. Not that predatory, except for the amiibo stuff. Well, it's the amiibo stuff, and then I think now there was a really amazing. I saved it. I saw it on Reddit. Someone had posted a comment. This again is about the. Let me read it. This was about the fire red, leaf green dilemma of the price of $20 or something, or the idea that it was not on the online service or something like that. Someone had left a comment on there, and I really agree. No, not this shit. What am I looking for? I'm looking for saved. There we go. What? I know I saved oh, comments. There we go. I was gonna say, I'm like, what? Okay. So here. So someone says, why do I already own this useless console? I'm losing my mind. So someone had bought the thing. This is under Duskbloods, which, mind you, that's the From Software title, the exclusive title that's coming out for Nintendo Switch 2. And they haven't really done any updates for it. They haven't really told us about any of that stuff. But anyways, so someone posted, why do I already own this user console, with it pointed above a trash can? Okay, saying that they bought it exclusively to play that one game, and because they're not getting any updates on it, they are really annoyed by it, and they don't understand. But but someone commented, and this is really cool. Destiny 2, because they took away content people bought and didn't refund people. Oh, okay, but okay. I made it mostly completely removing the player base and enjoyed the open world and story stuff. Okay, I see. Okay, so it's not on the like actual multiplayer thing, but it has to do with the content that impacts the game in general, which I can agree with for sure. Um, wait a minute. Okay, so um, someone said, look at it this way: Switch 2 prices are skyrocketing. You bought it cheap. And then someone said they won't raise the price. It would be suicide for sales, which are already not looking great. Um, and then someone says, do you know why it's going down? And then the main comment that I saved here goes as follows. It says, Nintendo has said this themselves, which is a link to an article where Nintendo acknowledges that the sales for the Nintendo Switch outside of Japan have been less than what they expected. Okay? And then so people in Nintendo subs don't like discussing it, but I'll try and explain it in a nutshell. Okay, and they have different points. So one point is no big games announced. We have a lineup for most, not all, of Switch 2 games for 2026, and nothing really stands out. It really seems they're banking on Pokemon this year, and they got nothing else. Okay, high starting price. Nintendo's appeal was always its lower price compared to other consoles, and especially its low entry price was the main attractor to normies and families. $120 for your kid's Switch Lite is a no-brainer. Ugly, blurry screen. It's well documented how bad the Switch 2 screen is. It might be 120 FPS, with really few games even taking advantage of it, but the smearing effect and LCD downgrade from the S1 from the Switch 1 OLED is very noticeable. Penny pinching decisions. This is the big one right here that I was talking about. From $90 Joy-Cons to $40 Amiibos to $10 tech demos, paid resolution bumps for Switch 1 games, premium priced SD card for internal storage. Most people are very aware that Nintendo has decided it's a premium brand now. Everything is ridiculously expensive, and it's not just because of chip shortage tariffs. Which that's huge, right? When you look at it that way, they're charging $90 for Joy-Cons, $40 for Amiibos, $10 for the tech demos, paid resolution bumps for Switch 1 games. So you already own a game and you want to have a bump in resolution. They are not giving that for free. You have to pay for that for most games, right? Premium priced SD cards that you have to buy specifically for the internal storage. Like, they're really penny pinching at every point, at every turn here, right? Underwhelming exclusive. Apart from DK Bonanza, all exclusives have been disappointing and surprisingly below Nintendo standards and don't really attract mainstream audiences. So that's another thing, right? DK Bonanza, I didn't play it. I didn't see anyone play it. I only saw the demos of it and stuff, but I heard really, really good things about it. But all the other games, I've heard really bad things about. Metroid Prime 4 apparently wasn't that great. A lot of people were very disappointed in that. I've known a lot of people that, other YouTubers, other like people that I've just known that have played these games for a long time, and they were like not trying to shit talk it, but went away. They went away from the experience with saying like, it really wasn't that great. Like, I didn't have a good time with it. It was really bad. It wasn't good, right? Like, the Mario Kart World, right? My sister is not that she's simple in the way that she enjoys her games, but she's very like, Mario Kart, I'm down, I love it, right? At every turn, she loves Mario Kart, right? Every game, she's like, yeah, new Mario Kart, I love it. She told me recently, she was like, we played Mario Kart World together, even on the channel, and we had live streams, and she's like, I didn't enjoy it. She's like, I did not have a good time. I didn't think it wasn't that good. She was like, I don't know, something about it just really didn't, like, I wanted to go back to Mario Kart 8 the whole time we were playing and just play that instead. And so that was really disappointing, right? Because, like, so this is actually next point. Mario Kart World was fumbled. Empty open world, weird online choices by the devs have soured people on what should have been the system seller. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the 4th best-selling game of all time, so you get the idea of how much was riding on this game. chopped slash missing overpriced third-party support. From games like Duskbloods and Elden Ring having disappeared, we haven't heard any news about these for like almost a year now. We haven't heard anything about these ports that are supposed to be coming out like this year, right? To expected launch titles like Baldur's Gate 3 being nowhere in sight, to third-party ports like Tomb Raider being compared to the PlayStation 3 version. So they're linking to an article here. If you go into the article, they're linking to an article where someone is comparing the Tomb Raider the Tomb Raider port for Nintendo Switch, for Switch 2 or whatever, comparing it to what the other versions look like, and really saying like these graphics are complete garbage, like they don't look good, right? Third parties are more miss than hit, and they often cost full price, like 60 like $70 for Fallout 4. People would rather play the official nice looking version on a PS5, right? So even Nintendo is getting to the point. I'm gonna block you, Jacob, just because you come in here. Were you already blocked? What are you on? What's the platform that you're on? Yeah, I can't even see it on here anymore. I think it's auto blocked on mine. Maybe it's in the I'm gonna block you because you come in here and you say that every time, and it's getting to the point where I'm just sick and tired of it. You know, you think eventually someone with half a brain would eventually stop because they realize it's not funny or interesting. But apparently that is not you. So it's gonna have to happen. So I can't open it right now. Can't even do it right now. It's really stupid. It's fine. It's because I didn't have the portrait mode open. That's on me. That's okay. I'll do it next time. I wonder if I can actually, let me see here. It's like I'm really just tired of people coming in here and just commenting bullshit. It's really fucking annoying. It's because you've been staying fans this long. SNES back in the day was just as bad if you wanted extra controllers in the paraphernalia. Paraphernalia. I can't even say that word. There's way too many I's and L's and E's in there. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. So it's just at the point, you know, with Nintendo, it's crazy because, you know, I bought the Switch 2 because I wanted to enjoy the Switch 2, right? I bought it because I thought that I was gonna have a really good time with it. And then it turns out that everything is so expensive for that console that I haven't been able to afford anything for that console. And that kind of drives me crazy, right? Like I've been playing on that game, I've been playing older games because I can't afford to buy new games because everything is full price all the time. And the way that the economy is going right now, specifically in the United States, kind of going down the shitter, right? Like it's kind of at the point where I'm like, I want to be able to you know, like buy games at a discount. You know what I mean? Like I don't have money to openly throw $70, $80 at a game to play it for like a week, right? Because the more I think about it, the more I have to weigh the value that I get out of an experience, right? So it's like, okay, well, I have to weigh whether or not this is a good experience and good investment for my money, right? And honestly, 70, $80 now doesn't sound that good anymore. Like back in the day, that was a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I just feel like back in the day, games like that lasted you just kind of longer, right? Like you would have longer to use those games and do something with them. I don't know. It took you longer to like play through them and find all the little secrets and stuff. You know, now you play through the games and you're just through it within like a week, and you're just like, okay, cool, that's it, that's all I get. And then they're like, a year later, they're like, okay, well, here's a $40 expansion that you can buy, and it's like, oh my god, no. Even at half off, 40 is asking a lot. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is like, I don't even think about like buying multiple games, but I'm thinking about, for me, right, the thing is, when I look at certain games where, you know, I look at like Xenoblade Chronicles, for example, if I look at Xenoblade Chronicles, yeah, I'm gonna invest. I'm gonna pay the $70 for Xenoblade, you know, $60, $70, whatever it is, right? Like I'm willing to invest that because I know that if that's the only game I have, I can sit here and 100% that game and spend like hours upon hours on it, right? Like I can sit here and probably spend hundreds of hours on this game. Is there, like, I'm trying to figure out, is this, yeah, I guess I gotta, because if I plop this down, I just go back to where I was before, right? Or no, both brings me over there. Yeah, I don't know, whatever. And I can sit there and I can you know, play that game. Like, you know, another one, obviously a big one, is Guild Wars, right? Like Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 1, and Guild Wars 2. Like, you get a really good bang for your buck there, right? Like, even if they stopped support for Guild Wars 2 right now, like they said, this is the end of the, like, they're going to finish this expansion, that's it for Guild Wars 2, and we're not doing anything else, we're just keeping the servers alive or whatever, right? Whatever money you're spending on that, whatever the complete edition is where you get all of this stuff, that's amazing money to spend on a game because you're getting like hundreds of hours out of it, right? But there's so many games that I feel like, you know, they're raising the prices, but the games are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Where I'm like, I play through them and I'm like, okay, this is not worth me spending $70 on this game anymore because I'm only getting like, you know, 30, 40 hours out of it when I can get a game for $20 where I can get more out of it, you know? I don't know. They already pay for the, and that's the thing. The market is so oversaturated with games right now that it is important that the games that they are delivering to us, that those are good experiences that really like leave a lasting impression, that are not just like a copycat of something that we've already had, right? Like where it's just like, oh, it's another game of this, you know? Like that's why I really enjoyed the Xenoblade games, because I thought that they were really, really cool, really unique. They had some great characters, and I really enjoyed them for what they were. And I think they're 100% worth the price because you can invest more time into it. Like you play through the main game and that's like 50, 60 hours, or you can play more of it and get, you know, like 100 hours out of it, right? And like to me that's worth the price. So I don't know, it's just it's kind of a shame that we're at the point now that we have to sit there and you know, I'm just in that position right now where I have to penny pinch at every turn, and I don't have the money to openly just spend, you know, $500 on a console and then $80 for like a week-long experience, and then an experience that I just throw, you know, the game off to the side and I'm done with it, right? Like I don't want to do that anymore, and I can't do that anymore, and so it's like, you know, I'm like, there's free-to-play games that come out that I have a better experience with. There's games that are like on sale on Steam for like 75% off that, you know, went down from 60, you know, 75% off, and I can play them, and for like $20 I get an experience that's really good, and, you know, maybe even something that, you know, I want to experience a second or third time. Yeah, Silk Song for $20 is a perfect example of good cost. Yeah, exactly, right? And there's so many of those that are just like that. New wardrobe is a nightmare. Every time I want to switch something, it's so tedious. I mean, is it really? Once you have the thing is, initially it's really tedious, right? Initially, those are really annoying the way that they like the way that that works. But once you have those templates set up, it's like a couple of clicks to like apply. The only thing that really sucks is if you switch your build around and you have different weapons that you're using. It's really, that's the point I get kind of annoyed, because then you have to like swap the weapons out and like apply the looks on the new weapons that you're using, and that's a little weird to me. I feel like there's something there that they really missed with when it comes to specifically the weapons on those, because the other day I was trying to like swap a look on one, and it was really rough, because I swapped the look of the character, but then the weapon also changed because I was using like a different build now. And then I was trying to, like, when you hit the weapons, it's that old weapon, those old weapons that come up, you have to like undo those, you have to clear those slots out, and then it gives you the new weapons that you now have equipped, and then you need to put a new look on it, and that's annoying to me. That I thought was really stupid. So yeah, like NIS, America's pricing. I was thinking of getting Wise X Proud Nordics, but the full experience is $120 for a single player RPG. I'm good. Yeah, no, and that's, yeah, and see, and that's exactly the point, is like that's too much. Like, developers need to realize, like, with the economy the way that it is right now, there's no way that people have money to spend, like, to spend like that. You know, and it's like, you know, and then they want to sit there, well, the game flopped. Yeah, because you're selling it for $80 and people are looking at it and they're like, that's not even a great experience. So I'm not going to waste my money on it. You know, like, it's just, yeah, it's rough. It's rough. And like I said, over the last year, it's really gotten to the point for me where I make sure that I'm currently playing through Tainted Grail, and I think it's such a great experience. And I don't know how much it actually costs. How much is that game? Let me look at it. It is a $45 game, without um without discount, right? So it is a $45 game, but if it goes on discount, I would 100% buy it. I don't know, 45 is still, better than whatever, but you get like a full price, like you get like a full experience out of it. Like I'm already on episode, like, what am I now? On episode 13. What did I record today? I recorded up to episode 13. Yeah, so I recorded up to episode 13 today, and I'm having like so much fun. Episode 13 is about 12 hours, like 11, 12 hours in, because I don't do full hour episodes. So, and I'm only a third through the game, and I'm not even doing all of the side quests that you could do, all of the things you could possibly do in that game. So it's definitely worth, right? Like, if I compare it to like other games and stuff. Look at this, I love that. No matter how you look at it, it's one more click to confirm all compared to the old way. I mean, it's clunky as hell. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why ArenaNet didn't, like... It really feels like with that new system, they didn't test that out at all. Like, you can really tell that the system was implemented by people that were just, that created the system, and they were just kind of building that system and doing that probably under crunch, trying to get this out in 3 months, because they probably only started once the initial release of the expansion came out. I know that ArenaNet always wants to sit there and say, oh, we're already working on the next expansion, but that's not how these releases feel. The releases feel like they release the initial launch of the thing, and then they sit down and work on, like, what needs to be released in 3 months. That's what it feels like, right? Because that's how the delivery has been on these post-launch updates, has been, like, really lukewarm, like, just just really shallow, really, clunky, untested, really just like last minute, they're just getting this done. So someone 3 months ago sat down and they were told, "Hey, you got to come up with a wardrobe system because we announced one." And they're like, "Oh my god!" And it's just like one guy, in a cubicle sitting by himself. They're trying to figure it out, and that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. That it was just like made by one guy sitting in a cubicle, and he has to release that now, right? Like that's what it really feels like. So it's super clunky, untested. Could have been a lot better, a lot easier, but I don't know. If people do have the money, they're overspending, going into debt, or they're criminals. To be honest, I can't keep up with the Let's Play uploads. I'm so far behind. I mean, I'm only episode 7 released today, but yeah, I'm doing daily uploads. So my plan is on doing every day an upload, and we have been consistent on that since February 9th. So for 14 days now, for the last 2 weeks, I've released an episode every single day, and I'm gonna try to keep doing every single day. If I don't do an episode upload, I will be doing like an actual video upload, but the shorts don't count. The shorts will be released at random. But like I said, I recorded another, how many episodes now? 6 episodes that I've recorded today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 episodes that I've recorded. I want to record more. One of those is coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow is part 8. That's already uploaded, and then from there we move on, but I've recorded all those episodes today. So we're going every day. That's a great game. The DLC is worth it too. I didn't play the DLC on my I did a playthrough of that game a couple months ago. I had a really good time, and I was like, oh, I want to have that as a game for the channel. So I'm is this the main quest? It is the main quest. Okay. So I really wanted to play through it. But yeah, I'm thinking about getting the DLC for it, especially since they're wanting to do more. They're having there's going to be an update. I think next month they said there's going to be an update coming out for the game that's going to change like how stats work or something. They said, and then they're doing another. There's like another DLC coming out, like another expansion or something coming out. So that's like still unannounced. They haven't really announced that, but yeah, they're still actively working on the game as I'm playing through it still. So. Same with the whole raid update. Only good thing is you can start any boss now, but that's it from good game. I just want the old system back. Never needed any change. Same with the whole raid update. I don't what's you can still play. You can still tackle the raids the same way you could before, right? Or is that different now? Didn't they just add to it? Isn't it the same way that it was before? I just wanted the wardrobe system to improve. Removal of transmute charges and the ability to wear any armor. Well, they're never going to get rid of the transmutation charges, right? Like, that was never in the cards in the first place. I like that we have our own section for the wardrobe now, but having, like, the gliders and all that stuff and, like, the equipment be on a different tab, it really shows how clunky the UI for Guild Wars is, because they tried to like add another UI element to it, and it just made it way clunkier because now you're increasing the clicks that we need to do to change our stuff. So it's like they should have really had it, because before wardrobe was in the equipment tab, and now they added a new tab, so now we have to go out of the equipment tab, and so now you're out of the thing where you can switch, and it's clunky in that way. I'm like, why did you take it out of the equipment tab? You should have kept it in the equipment tab and just had a wardrobe tab, and just once you click that wardrobe tab underneath, it opens up what we have now for it. But having on the whole left side completely out of the equipment, you go into a new tab that is now has all that, and then you don't even have all the stuff in it. Why are gliders not in there? Why is only our tools and our clothing in there. Like, why don't we have mounts? Why don't we have any of that stuff? Gliders, skiffs, jade bots. Like, why is that not all in there? Right. So to me, that really shows that it was a completely clunky release, a completely like half thought out, half implemented change that is currently in beta testing. Right. Which is so funny to me that we're currently beta testing in Guild Wars 1 because they're officially announcing these new reforged Doom's Covenant, Melander's Accord, right, as beta and alpha things, but then they're not doing that with Guild Wars 2 things, right? These are beta, like the wardrobe system is in beta. Like 100%. That's a beta system if I've ever seen one, because it's halfway implemented and it's half-assed to the point where it's super clunky and doesn't feel intuitive at all. It's weird to me. I don't get it. I agree, at the very last streams you should cost gold. That's how every other big MMO does it. I see the point. You know, I know that there is no like subscription fee, so they're hoping that there's people going into, you know, there's people that just have too much money and they go into the store and they just swipe their credit card to add some transmutation charges to their account. Like, I get that, and you know what, it's fine, whatever, right? Like, I think that's all fine, but I just feel like when they announced the wardrobe thing, I didn't expect it to be as incredibly clunky, unintuitive, half-implemented mess on release, because that's not what ArenaNet does, right? And so they're half acknowledging this by kind of saying like, oh yeah, we've heard you, we've listened to the feedback. Okay, cool. So do you have a timeline on when this happens? Do you have a timeline on when you're laying this, like when this is getting, like, I'm so tired of ArenaNet announcing things and being incredibly vague about the way that the stuff is being implemented and how it's coming out. You know, I compared this recently to what ESO did, where ESO had a huge announcement about the things that they're doing, and they gave us a specific timeline on when they're releasing things, right? They had this whole roadmap, and a lot of people were like, oh, there's nothing on the roadmap. I'm like, have you read the small print? There's a shit ton. Like, if I compare that to a roadmap that ArenaNet released, oh my god, that's not even, you can't even compare that, right? Because on ESO, like, in the interview that they did with the game director, I think she was the lady that was in the interview, I think she was the game director or whatever, right? She had specific dates and specific numbers on when they're going to implement what and when and how. Like, she literally is like, yeah, I think we have 18 armor sets that we're going to be implementing over the next year, and we have this and this many like things that we're doing, and this is all coming out in this time frame. They had specific numbers. With ArenaNet, it's like, yeah, we heard your guys' stuff, we're going to be working on it. Okay, when is this happening? Do you have a plan before the end of the expansion? Okay, so is that next update? Is that the update after that? What are you looking to improve? What are you looking to do with it? Right? There's no specifics. ArenaNet is always so vague with everything they do, and it drives me crazy. Gliders, doors, mounts will be moved to the wardrobe soon. Soon. You forgot the quotes, Mish. Previously, you can do strikes multiple times a week and get rewards. Not a case now. Oh, well, that's true, too. Well, that I can see. That is annoying, I guess. Yeah. I don't know why they couldn't add that now, but I guess they're busy on Guild Wars 2, eh? Yeah, but yeah, I know, I know you're kidding, but it just drives me crazy. I know you can trade gems, but I still think it's too high for one transmute. And they could lower the price of it. I mean, they could always do that, right? Like, you don't have to set in stone like this is what it is and this is what it has to be. Or maybe give us a way to earn them in game, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like give us some other way to like earn them in game, right? Because there's a surefire way to do it in World vs. World. There's a surefire way to do it in PvP, but you don't really have any in PvE, right? Like, I think the game is long overdue for PvE reward tracks. They did that in Drizzlewood Coast, and I think it worked out really, really well. I think the Drizzlewood Coast reward tracks were a little bit too much. Like, there was too much value in those. But if they kind of cut down on those values and kind of add things like transmutation charges in there and stuff, I think that would be kind of nice. ESO for 2026, they laid out everything as well. certain details omitted, but most of it is laid out. I don't know what details you specifically mean by that. I'm not sure, but I felt like when I looked at the roadmap, just compare the two roadmaps, you guys. And you know what? I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna pull them up. I'm gonna pull up. Perfect. This is Divisions of Eternity. This is October 2025 till December. Oh, okay, they don't even have that till December. That's all we got. We don't even have. Do we have another one? I guess I can use this. I guess that'll be fine. So, there was actually 2 that they released with this, right? I'm not doing that. I'm not involving that. I'm not putting that in. Because there's some stuff where I'm like, clearly ArenaNet is not doing that right now, but so let me pull this up here, okay? I love to hammer a point home, and you guys know that I like to rant about shit, so let's do it. Let's rant about this a little bit more. Okay, so we have, where is it? So this is the Guild Wars 2. This is Divisions of Eternity, okay? So, I could find a better picture. Well, no, so, okay, so this is the Visions of Eternity roadmap, right? For those of you that are mobile, this might be a little small. I can try to... A little bit larger for those of you that are mobile. Pull that up a little bit there. So this is the Visions of Eternity, right? For story, right? They have a whole section that says story on it. Okay. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Go back. Go back. Nope, go forward. Oh my god, why is this slow at this, please? I can't click on it. Okay, but you guys can see my mouse. Okay, so let's look at this for a second. So it says story, launch story, update 1, nothing. Story continues, story concludes. This doesn't even need to be there. Okay, like this doesn't tell us anything. This is literally nothing. So like nothing, okay? This is the next point. I mean, I guess it's important to say that update 1 doesn't have an update, but they talked about that in this very same blog post. They said that they're not doing a story with update 1, that they're just doing a systems and features update, right? So I feel like this is not very important. This is kind of important that we get another 2 maps. So this is important that we're getting map 3 and map 4, because the main PvE content that we're getting nowadays for Guild Wars is maps, right? Like maps and the stuff that happens in the maps. So this I can kind of see, right? Instance encounters, we get nothing here. We get a new raid encounter with a challenge mode, okay? No specific dates, no info on what it is, okay? We know now what it is, right? It was Keela, Seneschal of the Waves, right? No specific info, whatever, right? No specific date on when any of this happens, by the way. They're just doing that, right? And it's like, okay. And then nothing here. New raid encounter, again, no info on what that is. With challenge and legendary modes, again, we don't really know. Fractal, no info on that. With challenge, new convergence, no info on any of this, right? Just kind of saying we're getting those things, which I'm not saying it's bad, right? This is kind of nice. We're getting that with a bunch of different modes to it, right? We get a raid encounter, which is a strike, mind you. So we're getting another strike with a challenge and a legendary mode, and then a fractal with a challenge mode and a new convergence. Okay, I like that. That's good, right? Like, I think this point here is pretty good. We're getting the homestead layouts, enhanced tech, shadow tech. I don't know why this is a feature. that is not a feature to me. Enhanced shadow tech is not a feature. First of all, it completely killed my FPS on my computer, completely, to the point where I now have to put shadows on medium or low, because otherwise my FPS runs at garbage, right? Like in expansion maps, I'm at 30 frames per second because I have a pretty decent computer. You guys can look at my specs. They're underneath. They're in the description of the YouTube description. But running new maps, I run down into 30% frames ever since they added the shadow thing in there. So that's not a feature to me. That's not an expansion feature. Okay. Fashion templates, rate strike update with quick play, right? Again, giving no info whatsoever. Okay, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't have to. And then we have another 2 blank squares. You guys can see that there's blank squares everywhere. Okay. We're getting 9 elite specializations, 6 Visions of Eternity exclusive relics, Juvenile Raptor, Swiftwing, Ranger Pet. Okay, I can see that that's really good. I think the expansion, the specializations were really, really good. I can see that that's great, right? But then we're getting 6 relics, 6 relics, 6 relics as the combat updates. Again, we don't really know what that entails. Most of the relics, let's be real, a majority of the relics that are being added are not being used. They're very niche in their uses. They don't change up the meta. They're not really, right, like best in slot, most of them. Where do you think the next 2 maps? We can talk about that. I'll talk about that later. Because I just want to focus on this for a second. Masteries, let's be real. Masteries have never ever been that impactful for the gaming experience. Let's be real. They're just kind of like in the moment. You know, there's this Metroidvania thing where it's like, oh, in order to continue this, you have to have the mastery, right? Or like in order, this was kind of the thing, like in the story, you had to like upgrade your skimmer in order to continue searching after the inquest party that went further north, right? And so they force you to kind of stop. These are like artificial buffers in the story where it's like, oh, okay, well, before you can just like run through the whole story, we need you to go back and do some of the events, and we don't want you to just do the events. We want you to kind of feel like you're earning something in order to do this, right? So masteries have always been, I really hate the mastery system, but sure, fine. No one uses the Castorian Survivalist masteries. No one. You cannot tell me that you use them. You cannot tell me that you go up to the little sacks that are on the side that give you the stealth for like, I don't know, a minute or whatever, that help you run around. No one uses that. Okay, so that's a completely moot mastery that we have there. Skimmer adaptation, that one was really nice. I really like that. I like the skimmer changes that they did. The Wild Castor and Magic one, I don't even really know what, I think that was, oh, that was the one that lets you get the rewards from the chests and stuff like that. That was nice. I like those are good. Then we get nothing here. Mastery updates, what do we get updates wise? We don't know. Updates, we don't know. They could just say masteries and just they don't even have to, they could keep this blank and it would just be whatever. We're getting more masteries. Okay, what does that mean though? Can you give us some specific, how many are we gonna get? What like, are you adding more masteries, or are you increasing the ones that we have, or like no details whatsoever, right? And then down here, I think the rewards are pretty decent. So 2 legendary weapons, legendary arco breather, 4 weapon sets, 3 armor sets, 2 infusions, and a seasonal refresh. I don't know why they put that down here. I feel like that's already in there. So I think this bottom row here is really good. Legendary ring, 1 weapon set, 1 legendary accessory, 1 armor set, legendary weapon, 1 weapon set, 1 armor set. I think that's pretty good. I think for an annual thing, the rewards that we're getting for PvE right there, I think those are great. I think those are fantastic. I love it. There is not an empty spot. Everything kind of seems like stretched out a little bit, right? We get like 1 weapon set here, 1 armor set here, and then we get 1 weapon and 1 armor set to kind of finish off the expansion. I really like that, right? They front loaded with like a lot of things here. We get 3 armor sets, 4 weapon sets, legendary weapons, 2 of them, legendary arco breather, right? Infusions. So we have all that, right? So I think that bottom row does really, really well. So let's look at like some of the I've used the sacks to grab HPs on characters that are below level 80 and shouldn't even be on that map. Well, but is that really what they're designed for? I don't think that that's what they're designed for, right? You might use that, which is probably a good use of the masteries, but is that really what they're designed for? I don't know what they're designed for, but I don't feel like that was in their mindset to that, you know, below level 80 characters come to the map to do that, right? So let's look at what they have here, right? So this was the post. I don't know why I have this open twice, but anyways. So one of the things, this is the class and combat roadmap. This is all the way from March until November, right? They're talking about, they're doing the Dragon Knight. They've already previewed these. They showed us a whole preview. There's a preview of what they look like. Two-handed weapon skill line, right? They've already shown all of this. Balance updates coming to that as well, right? They're doing a visual refresh on the werewolf models. They're adding another model, right? Including a new female model and the werewolf skill line. So we're getting that balance update in there as well. Then we're doing the same thing with the warden class here and then the sorcerer class, right? This is just a combat and class thing. So for the whole next year, they have 4 classes with others like kind of in there, right? Because they have the Dragon Knight, they have a werewolf, which is not really a class, but that's like a whole line in there, and then warden and sorcerer, right? So that was one of the things. Then they had all this. This was coming, I think update 49 is already out, I'm not sure, but this was one of the things that they had introduced, right? Update to the vampire werewolf, mimic stones, outfit tokens, no longer sold individual for crowns, bag and bank cost reduction, guild trader listings, hide eggs. I mean, like all these little bit of things, little tiny little changes that they're doing, but they're outlining them here. It doesn't matter if these are huge changes, but you know, there's little things, right? Like this is not a huge feature, but they're still highlighting that, right? ArenaNet adds all these little things that they never tell anyone about, right? They're like, oh, now this is in there, right? And most of the times that's not even listed in the changes, right? Upgrade to the UI, respec skills and attributes in UI, right? So they're looking at the UI here. They're reworking how treasure maps work, increasing the furnishing limits, the transmutation crystal limit, faster mount training, account-wide outfit slots, guild name repping, right? Major changes coming to that, right? That's just 2 of the 4 that they have, right? Then they have this, they're explaining what a season is, and they're adding PvE challenges, PvP additions, new story, new system, new zone, new event, experimental content, Tamriel tomes, which is a whole new system that I didn't even pull up here, right? They don't necessarily need to give us any info on here because we kind of know exactly what some of this stuff means, in my opinion. Like if you have played ESO, you will kind of know what a lot of these things mean, right? When we get a new zone, we know what that means. When it's a new story, we know it's a story that takes us across the zone that kind of ends in like a big battle at the end, right? These things. And then we have pretty much the big one, which this is pretty much the whole the big roadmap that they have for the entire year, right? Which they're saying season 0, season 1, season 2. But if you look at all these little things that they have in here, it's kind of crazy because obviously we know that they have the Dragon Knight update and the two-handed, but they also, when you look down here, the player experience improvements, right? They have that in this update, right? Then they're doing this night market group event. Then they're doing the Tamriel tomes, which is another thing that I didn't pull up, like I said. Then they're getting, in the summer, we're getting this. The new difficulty challenges, Orsinium, Thieves Guild, Dark Brotherhood, and Imperial City added to base game. Like, this is a lot of things for season 0 that's all going to be happening from like in the next 3 months. And then they're doing another thing in the next 3 months where they're adding all these different things. New in-game event, new trial that they're adding, new system, but it's all like outlined, right? They're talking exactly about what they're doing. Like, yeah, we're getting a visual update to a specific class here, right? They have new stories and quests, specifically naming, we're doing another Thief's Quest story and Sheogorath, right? Which is like a big thing in the game, right? Like, there's a little bit more detail put into some of these things where they specifically name the things that they're doing, right? When we look at something like that, I'm not saying that it's necessarily bigger, right? This might look actually smaller than what we're doing in Guild Wars 2, right? Guild Wars 2 seems a little bit bigger, but Map 3 right? Like we don't really. I don't know. Like when you get the one word things and like mastery updates, what kind of mastery updates, right? Like here they outline what they're doing, right? More details coming soon, more details coming soon, right? Like player experience, they're doing more than just this, right? Meaning that there's even more coming. I don't know. There's like a huge thing for me where I feel like ArenaNet is not very open about the content that they're adding, right? Like in my opinion. Yeah, there's a better roadmap than this out there, but it's such a horrible image. Nobody has uploaded a good version of it. Basically, it lets you level the skills on your weapon swap without needing to always swap. Why are my members not going through? I'm not cussing or anything. Quit being retarded. Backbar experience is a big deal as well. Yeah, they treat it like a small update, and that's kind of the thing, right? They have all these little changes, and ArenaNet could really spruce this up because you cannot tell me that the little like there's little changes that ArenaNet adds into the game, like I said, that will kind of be in the update notes where people will be like, oh, they did this now, right? They could be adding this to the roadmap because you can't just tell me that a week before Jeff was told, hey, fix this one little thing for the update coming out next week, right? This was clearly Jeff has been working on this for 3 months. Why didn't you put that in the roadmap? You told Jeff probably 6 months ago that in 3 months he's going to have to do that. So he knew that. You knew that. Everyone knew that internally. Yet you didn't put that on your roadmap for your players that you just released 3 months ago. And you just put that into the game without making a big deal out of it. Like, I'm not saying they should make a big deal out of every little change that they do, but it's kind of like maybe they should make a little bit of a bigger deal out of it, right? And then like there's a little bit more. I don't know. They set the expectations so low, and then people try to hype themselves up for more, and then they really don't get what I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't even know that these updates are coming out. Like a lot of people are kind of just don't even know this stuff is happening because Arena doesn't make a big deal out of it and they're not adding all these details. I feel like if they were to add more details into these things, people would talk about them more, right? And it'd be like, oh, this is coming or this is coming, right? And every little change could affect a couple of players here or there where they're like, oh, I've been looking forward to I've been wanting them to change this. Now they're adding this. This is awesome. This is really, really cool to me. And I love that they're adding this and that they're doing this, you know. So I don't know. I just feel like the roadmaps that they do are not good, right? So they're not really hyping the community up. We talked about this earlier where the updates haven't really been that significant, specifically when it comes to the post-launch updates on the last 2 expansions, and this one as well wasn't really that great, right? A lot of people didn't really like the raid update that much. Yes, I've been doing a lot more of like the thing that really drives me crazy is that they advertise the quick play for the raid and raid encounters, but the only thing that's in the quick play are raid encounters, strikes, which I used to do before anyways. So you're not getting me to play more raids because I still have not entered any raids. I'm still only doing strikes. I'm not going into raids, even though the quick play was supposed to be the lead up into it. No, I'm just doing quick play. I'm not going into any raids, and you don't have a raid in your quick play, so that's whatever to me then. You know what I mean? And the wardrobe thing was like such a clunky mess. So I'm like, I don't know. So it just feels kind of it just feels kind of whatever. Like I've just been kind of at the point where with ArenaNet, I haven't really been excited about anything coming in or happening. The main dude in charge quit or was fired, so they had to redo everything. For years, to be fair, and that's fine. I mean, I guess they weren't really doing that great, but I hope that they're doing better now. I mean, and I'm not saying, oh my god, ESO is so much better than Guild Wars 2 or whatever, right? That's not the point. But I'm just saying the point is that ArenaNet just like they need to understand, like, I don't know, be more transparent. I always go back to the transparency. Be more transparent about the stuff that you're internally working on, that you know that you're going to be releasing in a few months, right? Or like that are completely like not everything can be on the table all the time. You cannot have that entire you cannot have that mindset and give that mindset to your player base for 13-14 years about saying everything's on the table. That, you know, eventually people become like annoyed by that, and they just, you know, they're like, whatever. That just means ArenaNet has no plans for anything ever, you know? Yeah, I am saying that. I don't know. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. So I want ArenaNet to do good, and I want Guild Wars to do well. But I just think it's time that ArenaNet start with something new and something fresh, and I think Guild Wars 2 would be perfect for that. I think that's all I'm saying. So where do I think the new maps will be? I think they'll just be further inland on Castora. I don't think that there's any big mystery to that. We've heard about there's two instances in the just to go back to the question that Moon Proximity had. So I think the next two maps will be just further inland. I think one will be like further inland, and the other one will be like a little north of that, further inland or something like that. That's how they might do it. Just because there's, you know, two instances where we hear about further inland, right? At one point, the they talk about when you go to the camp, when you go to the Priory camp. In the Priory camp, you hear how one of the Priory members says that, oh, I'm just gonna head due west, blah 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 blah, and then one of the people there says, one of the Norns says, oh, and you're gonna get lost and then die out in the forest or something like that, right? So they're hinting at something clearly being out west, but that there's like a smart way to do it, and you know that they should be smarter about how they are exploring this new land. And then obviously we heard from what's his face? I can't even think of his name. The seer guy? What's his name? Oh my god. I can't even think of his name at all. I haven't played Guild Wars 2. I haven't done anything Guild Wars 2, and my brain is like completely... I'm so bad with names too. So anyways, our seer friend said that there is a well of power further inland, right? And that is where they did the rituals, and that's what our Inquest guy, the bad guy, needs in order to ascend, is that well of power. So we know that further inland, Isgarin. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Yes, Isgarin. Jesus. So sad for someone that makes lore videos to forget one of the most important characters in the lore. But anyways, so we heard that Isgarin said that there is a well of power further inland that they used to do the ascension ritual that they used to do, that the seers used to do. So it's one of those things where I think it's just clearly further west, past where the I just wish they would connect those a little bit more. So I don't know if there's going to be like an actual door that opens or something, like on the side of where the seneschal is, right? The seneschal that we fight. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that they don't connect these open world maps or whatever. So I want them to kind of do that. But I think that's what we're looking at. What do I have here? I have expertise. Yeah. So I think that's where we're going to go. There is a video that I have planned for at some point where I will kind of talk about that. Where I talk about, you know, a little bit about the story, where we left off about the story, and what we can maybe expect next. So there's a script that I've already written, but I haven't really put any effort into making that video because it's still like 2.5 months away. So I really don't want to make that video now because people are just really not thinking about that yet. So I want to do that in like a month or so. I'll probably release that, maybe a month and a half or something. We'll talk about that. But the video that I'm working on right now is a video where I talk about weapons, actually. So not as done. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I wasn't done with Guild Wars 2, but I just don't find. I try to log into it into the game, and you know, and I'm like, yeah, all right, let's play some. And then I play for about 10 minutes, and I'm like, I don't even know what I want to go for. Like, there's nothing. I'm like, I guess I could do, like, I could work on some legendary gear or something. Yeah, I don't know. I used to get a lot more excitement out of the game than I do now. I'm a little burned out, I guess. You know, and obviously my recent videos being complete flops didn't help that situation, right? It just made me feel worse. And so I think that's a big part of it, where I just, you know, because I wanted to make more videos, but the videos flopped so hard that I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do Guild Wars 2 videos anymore. Got ESO and Diablo 2 as backup games. Yeah, I'm gonna be playing more ESO. I just want to get through, like, some of the content. I feel like I haven't really done. Oh, I could have taken a shortcut, actually. I went all the way around for no reason. Oh, that's okay. I want to do more ESO. I'll be doing some more. I played through the main story again, so we're done with that on that character. But I'll be doing some of the DLC stuff, and I'll be going through, like, some of the main storylines of the areas and stuff. I won't do any side questing, but I want to do that. Interesting that there are seer runes on the rest shrines here in the Maguma jungle. That there's seer... Oh, runes, not ruins. I don't know. Seer runes? Oh! Is that a seer rune? That's an observation. That's a very interesting observation. Hold on. Let me... It looks like it, right? Trying to remember what they were called. Um, I'm trying to remember what the runes were called. Let's see. If I go under Iskarin, does it have anything there? Wow. Even, you know what's really crazy? Even the wiki team has really stopped putting any effort into the story. I've really realized that over the last two expansions, they have not even entered any of the stuff. Like, if I show you guys real quick, this is the Iskarin, right? So you have Iskarin here, talks about the biology, right? It talks about the early years, Lonely Tower Fractal, Live Above Garenhof, Secrets of the Obscure, and then boom, Janthia Wilds, nothing. Visions of Eternity, nothing. They haven't even entered any of that stuff. No one really cares to enter any of that stuff. God, it's so bright. I wish there was a dark mode for this, but the dark mode that they have for this is not implemented, right? Oh my god, I can't find them. I want to see what they look like. I don't remember what they were called. Hold on, I'll find them eventually. It takes me 25,000 years, but I will get there. Oh, thank you for following. I really appreciate it. Because when I'm just not feeling it, just like in the past, that game isn't for me, I guess. Teamwork and a reward does something else to it that catches my interest. Yeah, I think there's gonna be some stuff. Yeah, and I get it. You know, I'm working on a big timeline split theory. Castor was predicted by Kirsch. What they called? You don't ever see them until VOE. That symbol on the ground reminds you of the symbol you have to find for the Hidden Whisper's secret hideout in Grothmar. I think those are different. So they're called spell. What? What did you say? Spell runes? So split timeline. Tell me about that. I'm interested to hear what specifically you mean by that. Arcane spell rune. I see it. So that's one of the ones. Doorstep of Divinity. I wonder if the other ones. I wonder if there's like a whole picture of all three together. I feel like there is somewhere, and God knows. Hold on, let me look at something real quick. I want to look at the actual dialogue, please. Is the dialogue entered? Yes, it is. There they are. Hold on. So we have all three right here. Okay, so we have this one, and this one. Okay, I actually watched your review of Story Synopsis, not much of a Guild Wars 2 player, and it's what really set me on the path of believing in this theory. Locks talks about giving the future of Tyria back to her people. When the commander asks him to stop while there's still time, he says that there's still time is exactly why I must do this, Commander. So how does that go into a split? What did you call it? I'm working on a big timeline split theory. And how is that predicted by Kirsch? That's what I'm interested in. I'm not saying that I disagree in any form. I'm interested to see how Kirsch connects to that because I've made so many hijinks, so many theories already on Kirsch's dialogue. So this might look see. So my theory is, and why we see this rune here. So my theory is that all not magic itself, but magic spells and everything like that. Like the way that people utilize magic in the Guild Wars in on Tyria, at least, all originated from the Seers, right? Because I talk about how one of the things that I talked about recently was that when we go to Starlit Weald and we go inside of the temple there, we learn about we're faced by these weapons that attack us, right? These automated weapons, these magically infused weapons that are there as defenses, right? And we have seen this before. We've seen this with the Forgotten, who had the same kind of things. We've seen that with the Orions that had weapons that would just attack us. This happened in Guild Wars 1 and in Guild Wars 2, actually, where they had these floating weapons that would attack us. So my theory is that all of these magic spells, all of these things, all originate with the Seers. That the Seers were just this ancient race that, whether or not the elder dragons were there or not or whatever, right? Like whatever was happening, but they were the first ones to start utilizing the ambient magic out in the world, and they started utilizing it by creating these different spells and all kinds of these different schools of magic and scrolls where they inscribed them with whatever spell casting and all these different things, magical items that we see, right? Like it all originated with the seers, right? Because we see a lot in the Starlit Weald how they're like inviting even the elder races. They're inviting dwarves and they're inviting Jotun and they're inviting Forgotten to come and observe these masters of magic, right? These artisans and these crafters at their art, like and watch them and observe and stuff and learn from them, right? And so I think it all originates on that. And so maybe this might look seer, right? But maybe, I mean, I'm guessing this is a druid rune here that's been placed there. And it could be origin, could be the seer. This could be like a seer spell or something that the druids picked up, or some kind of modified rune by the seers, right? Like that's kind of what's happening, beef. Um, the Path to Revelations. So I actually made a lot of. I don't know if you've watched any of my videos on that. I actually made a lot of videos on that specific quest where you actually get to hear this other language and stuff, which they actually have referenced in Guild Wars 2 once or twice now. Is it twice that they acknowledge it in Guild Wars 2? Was there another time? I'm thinking of the time they actually have acknowledged it twice. So one time they acknowledged it in the priory, in the Durman Priory. There's a book where you can read the message that was given by the spirit to Kirsch at the end of that quest line. The other time is where they the fractal, the dwarven fractal, where the creatures in that fractal actually use that same language, that same like transliterated language or whatever, right? And so I've made videos on that actually. The same cipher is in the So the same cipher, maybe a location in which the druids transformed themselves into spirits. I mean, it's used as a resurrection shrine here. It could be that they use that as it, but since this is not like, usually resurrection shrines have god statues around them, I feel like that this is like a resurrection rune. I feel like, as in like this is where people can come to resurrect, or the spirits can resurrect or something, instead of having the god statues be the power of resurrection or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, kind of, it's a different kind of magic, but it does the same thing, maybe. But yeah, I've talked about that cipher many times where I've tried to make sense of it, right? Like I have made sense. I have tried to make sense of what that cipher said. So there's a couple of videos actually on my channel that where I talk about those. Let me see if I can find those videos. I mean, I know I can, but I don't know why. So I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, of the video. So the first one is that, and then that is the other one, and then says a direct prediction of the answer is Kirsch seeking, lying, and Castora. It's really funny that you say that. Didn't I have that as a theory too? Hold on, I don't know what my theories were. Okay, so we're gonna have to watch videos of me, because everything is about me and I'm the most important person on this planet. I'm kidding, obviously, but in order to talk about that, was that everything that I had on that? I think that is everything I've made on that. Theory-wise, at least. Who's this fourth Titan? I think this is it, you guys. So let me... I'm just going through my videos. My cat is still losing her absolute mind. So I had this video. It's going to be kind of choppy because I'm streaming right now, so... But it's not really important.
Raleigh, and oh boy, do I have something interesting to talk to you guys about today. Recently, I have been mentioning expansion concepts and even made a video about this sort of thing, but considering more subjects and places we could go, I started thinking about an underground expansion. Long story short, I remembered the Deepstone Fractal and some of the lore which in fact is tied to not only Guild Wars 1 and the human gods, but potentially the current story of Nyos. For those of you
So mind you, I'm going to give you guys a little background on this. This was... this video is called Secret Language in Guild Wars, and this was made in January of 2024, so 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now. And this video was about, and I'm not trying to, I know beef that's maybe has nothing to do. I'm not trying to like, what's the word? Like, push you. There's a word that I'm looking for. I can't come up with it because God knows I can't articulate words, but I articulate myself at least. I'm not trying to push your theory side and say that it's not right, but this is a theory that I had on that same quest.
You might already know what I'm talking about, but let's discuss details and see what fun lore stuff we could see being added in upcoming releases. As always, a spoiler warning for all things Guild Wars 1 and 2, and if you have not subscribed to the channel, doing that would make me very happy from the beginning. The Path to Revelations is a final quest in a chain of quests in Guild Wars 1.
I don't have the bandwidth, but
this particular quest chain involves an Asura named Kirsch, who can be found in the Tarnished Haven, an area of the world not accessible to us in Guild Wars 2. He says that he has studied the human gods. He found it strange that these gods have different domains and are stronger in different areas, even though they're supposed to be these omnipotent, almighty beings. He decided to explore the various domains or facets of these so-called deities. Using a device aptly named the Divination, he tasks you with killing each of the 6 facets. The 6 facets are as follows: the facet of creation for Melandru, the facet of destruction for Balthazar, the facet of illusions for Lissa, the facet of death for Grenth, the facet of existence for Dwayna, and the facet of spirit for Cormier. Each time you accept one of these quests, Kirsch gives you a vague explanation as to what the facets are. In short, these are like manifestations of the gods' powers, almost like the avatars you can find at different shrines. The interesting part here is that these facets manifest themselves as dragons. We have seen this before with Glint in Guild Wars 1, where her facets were also manifested as dragons. Understandably so, and with that the facets we see the Herald wield in Guild Wars 2. I think that at this point in development, ArenaNet wanted to keep the idea of a connection between gods and elder dragons open, so I wouldn't read too much into this. Moving on though, after we finish the initial quests, he tells us that the energy readings, or magical signatures, that the divination device found are coordinates leading to a place called Varijar Fells. This area is also not accessible to us in Guild Wars 2, and by the looks of it, is actually underwater now, deep in the Shiver Peak Mountains. The particular location on the map where the coordinates lead is called the Varijar Stone Circle, where we can usually find undead and skeletons roaming about, and is said to be tied closely to the mists. This is our first clue into this mystery. Since we are trying to find connections to Nyos, having something related to the mists is already very compelling. Once the location is reached, the facets appear before you once again, and of course you have to kill them, again. This is where it gets interesting though. Upon killing them, an ephemeral spirit appears who says 4 lines of dialogue and then disappears. At first glance, these are nonsensical and Kirsch is extremely frustrated. Nothing comes of it, just Kirsch saying he will decipher what the spirit said and perhaps you two will meet at the end of the path. Now the message here isn't too difficult to decipher since it uses a simple substitution cipher, meaning that, simply put, the letters were swapped for other letters. Mind you, I did not decipher it myself, as I am not smart enough for that, but someone in the Guild Wars community did, and this is what the message reads once deciphered. An offering to those who seek, beyond the mists, beyond the dreams, on distant shores of a land unwaking, answers there lie in waiting. As this quest was released way before Guild Wars 2 came out, and we did not really know what all of it meant, it was a mystery for a long time. Obviously, at this point in time, we can see a clear connection to Nios, with the second line specifically, but I'm jumping ahead. Let's rewind. When Eye of the North came out, we only knew that the next step of the Guild Wars universe was fighting the Elder Dragons. People in the community figured that since the facets manifested as dragons, that there was a connection to the Elder Dragons in some way. The idea of a land unwaking led many people to believe this line was talking about ore, since ore at the time was still on the ocean floor, but we knew that it would rise with Zaitan by the next game, and that Beyond Dreams could have something to do with the Solvari and their dream of dreams. So many people were waiting for us to be able to go to ore, which was the land of the gods once upon a time, who were also connected to the myths, in order to find answers to what this meant. Now in Guild Wars 2, we were finally able to travel to Ore. Unfortunately, the ciphered language did not appear anywhere in Ore, and no mention of anything like it was made. The only place where something relating to this language can be found is in the Durman Priory. Here we can find a book named Varajar Fell's Notebook. Within this book we can find more ciphered messages. Once translated, this is what the book says. I believe Varajar Fells will be my tomb, for I have no desire to leave this valley of tumbled gods. The facets have been revealed, and the cipher as well. I have mastered them. A greater understanding of the eternal alchemy is within my reach. Human gods, char gods, Norn animal totems, they're all part of the all-encompassing eternal alchemy. I am humbled as never before by the grandeur of it, and by my own ability to conceive such vastness. This is obviously written by Kirsch, who had at some point figured out the cipher, but it seems like he also didn't know exactly what the initial message of the ephemeral spirit was talking about. He speaks of how the human gods and animal totems of the Norn are all connected to the eternal alchemy, but after playing through Season 1 and 2 of The Living World, this isn't revelating news to us, meaning that nothing came of it at the end of his path. Unfortunate, but that is not where our journey ends. In more recent years of Guild Wars 2, we have received a lot of updates, one of which is something I mentioned early on, and that is the Deepstone Fractal. This fractal involves us taking a stroll through some of the abandoned dwarven underground halls in search of treasure that goes awry. At some point, we come across an ominous entity called the Voice that takes control of one of our comrades. The most interesting part here is that the language the creatures that are either under its control or are directly possessed by this voice use is really strange. And yes, you might have guessed it, this language uses the same cipher for translation as the message from the ephemeral spirit in Guild Wars 1, meaning that the two are tied together somehow. So we have a spirit that appears in the mountains using this language, and an ominous entity who roams the old halls of the dwarves that lived within the mountains. Some people might think that perhaps this has something to do with what is lurking deep within the ground of Tyria. It wouldn't be unreasonable to think that this hints at some larger plot right beneath our feet. I, on the other hand, think that this could perhaps have something to do with crossing into another realm. Remember the initial message we got from the ephemeral spirit: beyond the mists, beyond the dreams. Going with what is currently happening in the world of Guild Wars, this would seriously imply Nios, the realm of dreams, a place that lies beyond the mists, as the place mentioned. Since the next line speaks of distant shores of a land unwaking, I would think that this is referring to some place in Nios that lies beyond where we have been able to go to. Considering either path, the message and language seem really strange. If the initial message has to do with some place far away on Tyria, and it's a language we have never seen used anywhere before, it would indicate that the location is extremely remote, and the question would be, why did this spirit appear at an area that is close to the mists? On the other hand, if we consider that it has perhaps something to do with what lies deep beneath the ground, the question would be what the initial message from the spirit is talking about. Could the spirit originate from deep within Tyria like the ominous voice and just simply speak of a faraway land somewhere on Tyria? Or is there truly some connection to Nios, the realm of dreams? Perhaps something tucked away in a corner of this realm that has potentially something to do with the gods? The last thing I want to point out here is that in Nios, we can find a strange tablet. This tablet is made of strange black stone and glows faintly. It also is covered in symbols that are unknown to us. Obviously, this seems unrelated to what we have been talking about here, but what this strange tablet indicates to me is that there is indeed languages and perhaps civilizations in Nios that we have not yet met. I could be reading into a lot of stuff here, but it would be incredible if the developers would expand on this mystery in some way. What do you guys think of all of this?
Okay, so that was the end of that video, which at the time I felt like I put a lot of connections together there, with the initial message of the spirit kind of meaning what I kind of talked about in there, but I don't know. So clearly the developers have not forgotten about this initial message, right? And obviously none of that came true with Nios actually having anything to do with anything, right? So, but then we went, this is now in Janthea Wilds, and I had like a whole theory about who's behind all of this. So let's listen to that because I talk about that message in there as well.
With the new release Repentance, we got a plethora of cool lore threads and answers to questions we've had specifically about events and history surrounding the Seers and Mersad. While we did get some deep insights into these bigger and older lore mysteries, there wasn't much in terms of answers as to who's behind everything that is happening in our current story, like who's in control of the Titans and who's blocking our access into Baba Nisos. Most of the story content for this patch ended up being us trying to find a way into Baba Nisos while learning about these events of the past. Despite this, I thought it would be interesting to theorize a little bit about who could potentially be behind all of it. I want to propose a theory on that end, and if I'm correct, then I think ArenaNet has left us some really cool hints for a while now. In order for all of this to make sense, I want to first point out things we have learned and look at the facts that were provided to us in this release. After that, I will go into the theory, and as always, try to connect the dots as much as possible to see if we can create a coherent case. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. At the end of the story chapters for this release, we witness one of Mabon's memories where he chases after a Titan into the inner city of Baba Nisos. While I do think there's an interesting mystery here, which is something I will be talking about in a different video, I don't think that this has anything to do with who the true mastermind is. Moving on, we also find out that Baba Nisos lies within a mountain, or at least has tunnels that lead deep into the mountain it's built next to. This is a clue for our theory. Next up, I would like to point out something that I've noticed in the Mistburnt Barrens. Every creature that isn't either a ghost, Titan spawn, or ambient creature has been misburned, except for...
You had an ad? You have an ad? I can go back. I'll go back and we'll just kind of start again over here.
We witness one of Mabon's memories where he chases after a Titan into the inner city of Baba Nisos. While I do think there's an interesting mystery here, which is something I will be talking about in a different video, I don't think that this has anything to do with who the true mastermind is. Moving on, we also find out that Baba Nisos lies within a mountain, or at least has tunnels that lead deep into the mountain it's built next to. This is a clue for our theory. Next up, I would like to point out something that I've noticed in the Mistburnt Barrens. Every creature that isn't either a ghost, Titan spawn, or ambient creature has been misburned, except for 3. That would be the one hungry Morello that we see in the story that seems to have been the last of its kind roaming on this island, starving and hiding in its nest. Then there's one lone wolf that hangs out at the Golden Lake. Whether that one was an accidental placement or not is definitely curious. But the last species of animals that aren't misburned are the spiders here. Both in the story and on the open world map, you can find plenty of spiders within the ruins, and there even is a page next to a dead body that talks of pirates that came to this island and hunt for treasure, and they seem to have been picked off one by these spiders as well. None of these spiders are mistburned though. Why is that? This piece of information will become important later too. Illuminate Katla, who is a member of the Astra Ward, is currently trying to open the magically sealed gate into Bavanissos. From her dialogue, we find out that the magic sealing the door isn't of Mersat origin, and it is also on a whole different power level compared to Titans and Mersat. We can also see that the magic that seals the door looks really like no other magic we've ever seen before. At first glance, this only serves to deepen the mystery, but could potentially give us a clue here as well. The last piece of information I would like to point out is during the initial release of Janthia Wilds. When we hear Ura's voice for the first time, she tells us that they are god spawn, meaning that the Titans consider themselves spawns of a god or perhaps multiple gods. But at the very least, it paints a picture of a figure that would be considered a quote-unquote god being behind all of this. While one could argue that this might be in reference to Abaddon, whose realm was the realm of torment, where the foundry of failed creation sits, you know, the place where the Titans come from, though I highly doubt it. In an earlier chapter, Isgarin mentioned that these Titans aren't like the ones we fought 250 years ago, indicating that these are different in some way. Now, all of this might be random information to most of you, so let's see if we can't connect the dots and lay out a theory.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So as you guys listen to this theory, and as you guys have heard all the different things now, I really think that I had something with this. I was so sure that there was something there, and I really love how I pieced it all together. And I was so disappointed with the Bavanissos release. Not necessarily because I was wrong, because I was 100% wrong on this whole theory, but what really drives me crazy is that I feel like it could have been so much better. And I'm not necessarily saying that my way would have been better, but I just feel like the whole last release of Bavanissos, the Absolution release, was just not good. And I feel like the way the story ended and how they like resolved all of it was just not good, right? And like I really, I don't know, there was just something that I really didn't like. So, but anyways.
Alright, so for this segment, I want to start out with an old theory of mine. If you haven't watched this video, I highly recommend it, since a lot of it will play into the theory I'm proposing today. The video in question is about the secret language that exists on Tyria. I will skip most of the info from that video since you can just go and watch it, but the gist is that during the time of Guild Wars 1, we help out an Asura who's researching the gods and their energies and so on. By the end of it, he finds coordinates, and when we venture to the coordinates, we come to a place in the mountains that is close to the mists. Here, a spirit appears and leaves a message. This message uses a simple substitution cipher, and after translating, says the following: an offering to those who seek, beyond the mists, beyond the dreams, on distant shores of a land unwaking, answers there lie in waiting. For those of you who have watched my videos, you will know that I've been trying to make sense of this message for a long time now. I think we might be getting closer to unraveling its mystery. Before the release of Guild Wars 2, most people thought that this connected to Or somehow, specifically the line that says, on distant shores of a land unwaking. Unfortunately, we didn't get much in terms of answers to the nature of the gods, or even the myths in or did we? More on that later. Then I came to theorize that perhaps the second line, beyond the mists, beyond the dreams, could be referring to Nyos, the realm of dreams. So when we went to Nyos, we found out nothing about the Mersat or the gods at all. That was another dead end. But now I think we have a possible solution to this riddle. The second line could still reference Nyos, but in a way that means leaving it behind, since it says beyond the mists and beyond the dreams, which the Mersat who lived here in Bavanissos certainly left behind the mists and the realm of dreams to come to Tyria. The third line, on distant shores of a land unwaking, could be talking about Janthir and more specifically Bavanissos, since by the time we get this message in Guild Wars 1, the Titans had already destroyed Bavanissos, which the unwaking part could be talking about. So how does this message tie into anything? Well, in the video I also talk about the Deepstone Fractal. There we find this evil entity called the Voice, and we have to use the Light of Daldramor against it. We also find out that this same language, which the spirit in Guild Wars 1 uses, is used by not just the evil voice, but also the spiders that live in those dwarven ruins. Do you see the web I'm trying to weave here? In that fractal, the only creatures that once again aren't spirits or ghosts are spiders. There are bats before we actually enter the ruin part of it, but not inside any of them. Why is it only spiders that exist here? Okay, let's move away from the spiders for a second and talk about the god connection. So while Ura says they are god spawn, one could argue that perhaps these new titans were made by Mersad, since the gate to the foundry sits in their old city, and maybe some of them survived and found a way to control the titans, and on top of that they were called quote-unquote unseen gods by their White Mantle followers. But if we look at Illuminate Cadla's dialogue, she tells us that the seal is on a different power level altogether, and that the enchantment is actually massive, spanning the whole city. That is much more powerful than a regular Mersad or even a Titan or Seer, which she states so herself, and is confirmed in a way by Isgarin, who says that the barrier is too powerful for even him to disable, and as we found out in this patch, Isgarin was feared by the Mersad for how powerful he was. So that would mean we are perhaps talking about one of the actual human gods. See, the human gods have an interesting connection to the Bloodstone as well. While they did collect the original Bloodstone and were the ones that sundered it into pieces in Ara, we have to think about the Ara explorable path, where we venture alongside a Priory Scholar named Randall Grayston. If you haven't done that part of the dungeon yet, the important info is that we find pieces of Bloodstone on priests of the different gods, and by the end of it, we go to the place where the gods sundered the Bloodstone, and Randall Grayston leaves to go into the mists to look for the gods. He seems to have been able to do this by utilizing or getting corrupted perhaps by the Bloodstone. We have never seen this before or since then, but him being able to travel to the mists and go seek out the gods themselves, as he put it, is certainly curious. Another interesting fact about the gods is that at certain times, when they have either been defeated or usurped in some way, they aren't fully destroyed. This happens multiple times. When Abaddon is defeated by the other gods, he's imprisoned rather than destroyed or even replaced. When Grenth usurped Doom, he didn't kill him, just absorb his power like Cormia did with Abaddon, but rather than destroying him, he imprisoned Doom in the Hall of Judgment. And of course there's Balthazar, who was chained in the mists by the other gods, and was neither replaced nor destroyed. So it would seem, under normal circumstances, that the gods as beings aren't as easily erased. Well, this leads me to a bit of Guild Wars 1 lore that many people might not know about. When we go to the Realm of Torment to fight Abaddon, we find out that Abaddon had a predecessor, some god being that existed before Abaddon, and when data miners dug through some of the files, they found a name, Arachnia, a clear connection to spiders. In the Realm of Torment, we see many different references to this god creature that has never been made canon or confirmed by the devs to even exist. Many of the maps in the Realm of Torment take place on top of giant dead spiders. There's other large insectoid carvings or carcasses everywhere, and even the skybox in some of the areas have giant spiders on them. Alright, so I hope I'm painting you guys a clear picture. Let's put it all together. What if the being that is behind all of this is Arachnia, Abaddon's predecessor, and their minions are spiders? This could explain why these spiders aren't mistburned, since they could be protected by their master somehow. Perhaps Arachnia survived and was imprisoned somewhere in the Realm of Torment after Abaddon took over in their stead, since like I said, gods aren't easily killed in many instances. During Guild Wars 1, we destroy Abaddon and Cormia takes his power, but it seems she didn't take over all of the Realm of Torment, since the Foundry of Failed Creations is popping out new titans calling themselves God Spawns now. So what if Arachnia was released from their prison after Abaddon's defeat and has been biding their time and gathering their strength, as well as building up new titans and have waited for the right time to strike? The right time to at least test out the waters was with Greer, Decima, and Ura after Maban died, and the open door to the Foundry was revealed in Bava Nissos. What if the spiders in both the ruins of Baba Nisos and the Deepstone Fractal are their minions, and maybe Arachnia is so ancient and perhaps from a different plane of existence in the myths where they use this mysterious language? Perhaps the spirit in Guild Wars 1 that gave us the original message was telling us that this Mist's Gate is open in Baba Nisos, and that Arachnia was planning on using it. Maybe it was a warning of some sort. Then there's also the part of being in the mountain. Why did we encounter the voice and the spiders that use the same language, as well as the spirit with the original message, in or around mountains? Could there be some secret that lies deep within Tyria that somehow connects to Arachnia in some way? We know that the Keystone, which is part of the Bloodstone, is in one of the tunnels that goes deep into the mountain at Baba Nisos. So maybe Arachnia was hiding deep within Tyria, hiding from the other gods and elder dragons, and through one of the tunnels gained access to Baba Nisos and the Mist's Gate and took over the Foundry. There are many ways we could potentially build this theory, but with the way that Catalyst's dialogue suggests a very powerful being and the magic looking like nothing we've ever seen before, it leads me to believe we might be facing a very ancient threat that could connect to the human gods in a major way. So, some might say, well, why couldn't it just be Abaddon? If the other gods weren't destroyed after defeat, then Abaddon could perhaps still be alive. Well, I think Abaddon is gone, since when we defeat him, his magic was going volatile and was threatening to explode, so Corsair absorbed his magic. This has happened before with Balthazar at the end of Path of Fire, where his magic was about to explode and both Kralkatorrik and Oreen absorbed the blast. Now, there's one more god figure that could perhaps fit the bill. Menzies. Menzies is Balthazar's half-brother. During Guild Wars 1, the player has to fight his shadow army in the Fissure of Woe, or rather Balthazar's realm, which we see part of in the Burning Forest area on Dragonfall during Season 4. That is also where we see his shadow army. While not looking the same, the creatures that are seemingly summoned by the voice in the Deepstone Fractal are also called Shadow Beasts, and we use a light-based attack to weaken them. Menzies also has some drive to wanting to attain more power and perhaps invade Tyria, since he was trying to usurp Balthazar and had teamed up with both Doom and Abaddon during Guild Wars 1. So now that Balthazar is gone, could he perhaps have made his move and started by taking over whatever was left of the Realm of Torment before coming to invade Tyria with his new Titan army? And lastly, let me mention the other spirits of the wild. Since again, the spirit and the Deepstone Fractal are seen in and around mountains, we have to think of the spirits of the wild that we haven't encountered yet. In Guild Wars 1, we find out about 4 of those spirits, and they are described as hostile or even malicious. These spirits are the spirit of fire, mountains, seasons, and darkness. Now, the spirits of fire and seasons don't really seem to fit the bill here, but the spirit of mountains or darkness certainly do. Could we be encountering some malicious spirit of the wild?
Right, and so that was the theory that I had right before Baba Nisos was released, and they gave us the Absolution release, and then kind of just, to me, it was such a cop-out answer that ArenaNet just said, yeah, it was just a 4th Titan that, like, he consumed the city, and that was it. And we go to the Foundry, and we don't really deal with the Foundry. We don't even turn it off or anything. We just kind of lock the gate, and we're like, okay, we're good now. It's all fine. We can leave. And we don't really... Like, it seemed like such a cop-out answer of, like... I felt like there was a lot more that they were building up to, which could have connected so many different like threads across the Guild Wars universe and the lore, and then they never did anything with that, and it really drove me crazy, because I was like, I really thought, like, I don't know if you guys agree with it or not, but I felt like I connected a lot of dots here, right? With a lot of different things that were happening. Yeah, I know maybe the spider connection was kind of weak, but the idea of, like, the gods, because the Titans call themselves god spawns. And why do they call themselves god spawns? Because they have some random other Titan that consumed a city that's spawning them now? Like, what? It was so weird, because they made it such a point to call themselves god spawns, and then I feel like we never got a god connection. Like, why do that, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just why would you emphasize that point and then not have that lead anywhere? Like it is so frustrating. And then the Foundry of Failed Creations, like there was no point to actually that existing because we just closed the gate. So it's like they didn't even have to tell us that it led anywhere. If we're just gonna close the gate, like we didn't even need to go inside of the gate, right? Like there was no point of going to the Foundry. And then even in Bavanisos, we find these shadow creatures, these shadow warriors and stuff like that, and none of that even led anywhere. It was so frustrating to me that that is how Janthia Wilds ended, right? With us not even getting this conclusion that I feel like they themselves build up over this whole year, right? It was so frustrating. So then, and I don't really know what theories I had on Castora, but I started doing theories on Castora, and I think I don't know if it's this one or the other video, but I added some.
Hey guys, it's Raleigh. Welcome to the channel. So
I think I
today we're gonna be
used the
talking about
message
Castora.
somewhere in
Now,
the.
You guys know that I like to do my theories, and I like to do a lot of theory videos and stuff. The thing is, with Visions of Eternity, ArenaNet has this one puzzle piece. It's supposed to tell us where Castora is. The other day I was
so we're talking
streaming,
about-
and one of our introduced Castora, that it was like an island of Castora is. I wanted to just come up with some stuff. So this is like, and it was kind of strange that I remembered it. I think the reason why I remembered that specific line is because I had just it's a line that you can find. It's a line from Prince Metu the Wise in Guild Wars 1.
Oh yeah, that's
And
what
you
I
can
talked
go there
about
and
the
an island.
he talked about the island or whatever, which I don't think that came true either. Like ArenaNet is so bad about you need to jump into Guild Wars 2, the lore looks wild. It is crazy. I mean, the lore can be crazy. The problem with ArenaNet is that they have no idea. They create all this lore and they create all these like really interesting stories and characters and stuff that they could possibly connect in really interesting ways, but they never do because they seem to forget about their own lore. And it drives me crazy because they could have really connected Castora to this, but they didn't really do that, right? Like this was one of the main theories that I had, that other people had as well, but you can talk about this is like Prince Metu in Guild Wars 1. You can talk to him and he talks about his library, right? And he talks about I have ancient scrolls, texts, I guess, from Tyria, ancient ore, Istan, and Kornan. All the strange places throughout the world can be found within its walls. I even have stolen tablets that were found on an island far off the coast, an island that mysteriously disappeared thereafter. See, I have your attention, right? So this is really cool. So he has stone tablets from a mysterious island, but they never connected it to Castora. That was one of the theories that I had.
Or that
it,
were
right?
found on an island. I don't know if he himself found them, but he says that they were found on an island off of the shore of Alona, and that once they retrieved the tablets, the island disappeared. And so everywhere, and it seems very magically infused. We can see that in the homestead. We can there's a statue of what looks to be a seer in the background.
Okay, so we were theorizing on that being
we were
seers.
focused for about a decade on just the dragon saga, right? The elder dragons were kind of the focus. We have the Mersat and seers, and it was interesting to kind of see that shift because it almost, again, it kind of felt like there was this disconnect in the story and the just kind of the narrative created is the idea of the seers, right? So the Mersat were always this thing that most people in the lore were always interested in, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, the Mersat, they're so cool, blah, 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 right? All these things, the stories, right? So I kind of started thinking as we were theorizing about what's going on Castora and what's going to happen in the story of Visions of Eternity, and we see the statue of the seer. It's my question always was, okay, so the Mersat and the seers waged a war, and we knew where, on Tyria at least, the Mersat were hailing from, which was Bavanisos. There was always a location. There's always the Isles of Janthir, right? And this was hinted at many finding the unseen. You need to have almost an equal amount of people on the other side of that war. Right? Magical Island.
Okay, so we're still talking about that seers are on Castora, which we obviously know not to be true.
So what if there are surviving seers that we just don't know about, that they have hidden themselves away after the war from what we older Mersat, going past the Horn of Maguma?
Yeah, so one theory that I still have that could still come true is that Orestes and Darda are on Castora somewhere, right? Because they themselves talked about that they're leaving and they're going we're crossing the ocean to the west of the Horn and put this land behind us. So that theory still exists, just so you guys know. I still think that we're going to see Orestes and Darda. Again, this was last expansion. If they're not hinting at these two being on Castora, I don't know what they're doing, but I feel like, and like I said, there's going to be a video that I'm going to make on map 3, and I'm going to talk about that again. That will happen.
It seem to have, as you read the different a lot of these things, so probably lived during the time when there was a partnership between the Seers and the on stream. Kind of talked about Malik and the tree that he came.
We talked a little bit about Malik,
because we didn't really get that much.
So they talked about here's a big thing where the developers talked about that Malik was planned or that there was some kind of story that was supposed to be happening with Malik and stuff like that, but that never came to fruition. So I was hoping that we'd maybe see Malik's tree or something.
I mean, we don't know really. The thing is, we're kind of done with the Elder Dragon story, but we don't to Castora, and it just happened that 10,000 years later, one of these pods ended up in the Maguma Castora. Someone could, which, mind you, here's the thing. Remember that the Elder races, specifically the Forgotten, actually created an altar, the Altar of Glost, in Ara, which, mind you, Ara is, again, a nexus of leyline energy, right? We have the Artesian Well, and that is where there's a lot of magic concentrated there. That's why Zaitan fell asleep there. It's right, and we know that they were an alliance way back when, 10,000 years ago, when the Elder Dragons still roamed around. They were an alliance with the Seers. So what if the Seers kind of shared that, or the Forgotten shared that technology or that magic or that whatever, the ritual, with the Seers? And what if the Seers use that same ritual on this blighting tree that the seed would have created?
I'm still talking about Malik's tree.
Pardon me.
There.
Trying to see where. And obviously, I gave you guys a little bit of a refresher on Seers today. We don't know.
Okay, so it wasn't on here. What did I have here?
Clear as. Hello everyone, it's Raleigh, and welcome to the channel. We're about a week away from the release of Visions of Eternity.
So it's very recent.
Things are ramping up, I think. We've been getting a lot of info on the game in little snippets. They've been releasing a lot of little shorts and giving us little hints here. So I just wanted to make this video to, you know, as a final little, here's a few more theories that not just myself, but other people in the community have come up with. And then we'll be... So one of the things that I've mentioned before, and I don't know if I did this in a video or if this was on a live stream or something, but we talked about Orestes and Darda. Now, Orestes and Darda were two of the leading Mersat in Baba Nisos when Mersat was still like a big civilization on Tyria and stuff. And they were... We see a lot of their like journal entries and, you know, the missives back and forth between each other, where they talk about like the younger generations like Manic and Optimus and Lazarus and all of them, like how they've been doing, how they started focusing a lot on the Flameseeker prophecies and all these things, like right before the fall of Baba Nisos and the Titan invasion, things like that. But we also got this really interesting piece of information where they decided that they wanted to go west, go past the Horn, all these other innocent people. They were never behind that. These two were kind of, they didn't really want to west. Okay. And I think Arena is doing something really interesting here, because I think the Mersat as a race have been very interesting for a lot of people. I think many non-stone dwarf and things like that. So they kind of came back to the spotlight. But I think that with Mabon's death and like those types of things happening, you know, Janthia Wild's kind of wrapping up the story on the White Mantle and the Mersat, like in general, civilization on Tyria was on Baba Nisos, was on the Isles of Janthia, and we knew this for a very long time. But we don't know where the Seers hailed from. We have never seen a Seer city. We've never seen two of us left, and we don't want to risk any more engagement with the Elder Dragons, because the last time we tried to do that, like, you know, we ended up as, you know, Isgar and spared Mabon and was like, you know what,
They released one today, and then they released one the other day. I don't remember, but the one they released today, a few hours ago, as I'm reporting this, they talked about how the headline was, "Is CORSAIR cursed?" or "What is the curse of CORSAIR?" or something like that, right? And it talked about how the stormy seas is the reason, the elder dragons and the stormy seas is the reason why we died into how the corsairs have like been avoiding that island, or Zaitan had a fleet of dead ships at its disposal. Just, I think one thing that myself and other people have been getting hung up on is the idea that some people thought it was non-existent, even though it get there. I mean, in the levels of power, because of the supplies and the magic and the technology and stuff, like the arrival of that would like tip the scales. And Magister's main people that we talked to from the Durman Priory when the whole Scarlet situation was happening. But during End of Dragons, we actually meet Magister Ella McKay out in New Kainang, and she talks about how she actually studied the crate before she studied Scarlet, before she kind of dealt with all of that. And she said that it was always believed that the deep sea dragon was the cause of whatever's happening in the unending ocean, that there's some kind of darkness and shafts to save Kantha from the tsunami that was caused by Leviathan, right? So whenever the Leviathans appear, both in End of Dragons and Genthian Wilds, whenever we fight the Leviathan, specifically actually in End of Dragons, we hear Largos talking about how there's this like darkness coming from the ocean, never really corrupted by the void and never actually went evil. If it wanted to grow more powerful, if it wanted to become more powerful, it would want to take. When I made the video last week,
I thought I had another theory that had that
ultimately lead into. And there was a couple people that actually had this interesting theory where at first I was like, I don't know if I'm a big fan of this. But then as I thought about it and as these shorts were coming out, I'm like, this actually makes a lot of sense. So let me talk first about the shorts a little bit. So the shorts were about the Inquest and kind of describing them a little bit and talking, maybe hinting at what the ultimate goal is. So one of the shorts talked about how the Inquest some of the Inquests believe that organic life is insufficient and that they need to use technology to improve it, or that they need to use magic and technology, like that's the next power step, right? It's like and it's a joke that has persisted in the Digimon community for a long time, but it's like, this kind little creature turns into this like gun wielding maniac or whatever, right? And many Digimon can digivolve into different things, but it's a common theme in a lot of Digivolutions that they turn from like dinosaurs or whatever organic creatures into like metal creatures. Like they get enhanced with having like claws made out of metal, or guns made out of metal, and armor made out of metal, and like all this stuff, right? And they get kind of like mechanized in a way, right? And so that kind of reminded me of that a little bit, right? Because they almost are evolving these raptors into these mecha versions of themselves. And so on the Discord server, a couple people actually had this thought as well, where they said, well, what if if the Inquest are trying to create their own mecha elder dragon, aka
oh yeah, we had Tier the Elder Dragons on the Discord server, which was really cool. We had like a mecha Godzilla kind of thing where we're like, oh, maybe they're trying to like create that, because you got to remember, which is still a theory that could be true because of Kuda's involvement, right? Kuda, we don't know what her role is, but we know that her role previously was to continue her father's research, which had to do with the Elder Dragons, and it had to do with the Elder Dragons, the energies, and using those and creating minions that only they could control, right? That was like all of Kudu's research and stuff. And it was interesting that they talked about that combination being, organic life is insufficient, and all of the minions they created up until now, or all the minions that we know, were all organic versions of minions, and they couldn't control them, and they went out of control. So what if they're trying to make a mechanized minion that just uses dragon energies, right? So that was kind of where my theory is coming from, with having like this mecha elder dragon that they're creating that just uses all of the elder dragon magic, but it's actually just a robot that they can control, right? That was kind of the theory that I had here. I thought I had another theory about
we find out that Kuda took over this research, and we create this giant robot in a way, and assuming, and so maybe they realized where we could see the forces of CORSAIR, these monsters that innately live there, purple bird creature thing that has like a tree growing out of its head and something and stuff. Like we don't know what the relation is. It has like these cool wings and stuff. We don't know theories, and she has a ton of really, really great theories. And I'll link. Right? Like, did they go out that way as well? We don't know, because the thing also is, someone might say, well, the Orion runes, they probably washed up on there after, or to these
talk about ore and
supplies and all this stuff.
Be Orions
and it was supposed to be taking place on this mysterious island. There's this like
weird corruption a little bit about
seeping into the world in some shape or form, and I don't know what the deeper meaning of it is, but I feel like there's something very interesting about those pictures for you guys, and you guys can let me know. So those are kind of the theories that I have thought about that.
So that wasn't even anything. So I thought I had. I mean, I have my nature theory, but that's not Stellus Core. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess I didn't have any more theories. I mean, these are my last two that I made, and they did not land with the community. People did not like those, but that's whatever, right? Yeah, I thought, ooh, we're level 20. I thought I had more in the sense of theories that have to do with that message. But just to go back to what Beef was saying, so I find it interesting. I hope that you make that video, and I want to hear what that video that you're making. I want to see it, so I would love to hear once you're done with it. I would love to watch it because I love Guild Wars theories, and I think that's one of the things that's really been dying out, and I think one of the reasons why my videos haven't been doing good is because just the general consensus is that people are just not interested in Guild Wars theories and the lore on the deep end anymore. And I disagree with the sentiment that a lot of people have where they say, well, it's because ArenaNet doesn't care about their lore anymore. I don't think that that's true. I think ArenaNet really cares about their lore at large, and we wouldn't have these releases that talk about, like, right now the releases that they're bringing out, these mini expansions, they're dealing with some of the deepest lore that we've ever talked about. We're talking about things that happened 10,000 years ago, about like the foundations of current civilizations. We're talking about the seers, we're talking about all the elder races, we're talking about the Mersad, we're talking about all of these things from way back when, right? And connecting the dots a little bit with the things that we have experienced in Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. And I don't think that it's fair to say that ArenaNet doesn't have an interest in their lore just because the community at large doesn't have an interest in it anymore, right? Like, I think it's a chicken and egg situation that we have going on with it. And I think that a lot of people are not, like, and I've talked about this before. I talked about how I think a lot of people have lost interest in my videos and in those types of videos because Wooden Potatoes has stopped making those videos. So the interest, it was like, it's not the cool thing to do anymore. And that's my opinion. I truly firmly believe that, and I'm not saying that to disparage like the community at large or anything like that, but it's really, I think that because Wooden Potatoes had these really compelling, really cool videos, and because he was right in many of his theories that he had, that a lot of people really got interested in it, and he became the largest Guild Wars 2 content creator. And I think a lot of people it became the fad, it became the thing to do, right? It was like Wooden Potatoes, the biggest content creator for Guild Wars 2, is making these videos, and so everyone in the community thought that that was the thing to do with Guild Wars, is get involved with the lore. And then because he stopped making the videos and other content creators took the lead and they weren't making those videos, it went out of fashion. It went out of fashion to talk about the lore, and it went out of fashion to make these big videos and have these big discussions, because the biggest creators, they don't talk about that anymore, and so it's not the cool thing to do. The big creators are talking about the raids and builds and making money and talking about the fluff and other things. I'm not saying that those are worthless, but I'm saying those are other aspects of the game and the community. And so I kind of my last two videos really flopped, and so I love to see other people that make content like that. I would love to see more people make theory videos, in depth, like really deep lore videos like I do. And I would love to hear like a complete, like the whole video. I would love to just see it and see what the reasonings behind all that is. We're just continuing the main quest here, which I think I need to go inside here. But yeah, anyways, those were some of the videos that I recently made, some of the theories that I had, which didn't really pan out, but I still think that there's some interesting stuff to be discussed, to talk about in general. This is not... Okay, I just need to talk to him. What are these at? Oh, these are better than what I have. I'm not gonna create new ones though, because I'm kind of killing a lot of enemies as is right now, so I'm not too worried about it. Oh, I guess I should do that. But yeah, so, and I hope that also my videos, you know, that they inspire other people to make more videos. You know, it's not really about whether or not people watch mine, but again, I would love to see more of a community when it comes to the lore, you know, because I don't think the lore is dead. I just think the lore is as dead as people want it to be. I think if ArenaNet were to see a bigger interest in people wanting to talk about the lore, then they would probably pay more attention to having the lore be consistent and maybe connecting some of those dots, right? Like if we make more videos reminding them of the things that they have talked about before, maybe they get inspired to make some of these content, some of the content drops connect more, right, with with stuff that they're currently releasing, you know. Like connect the dots with like stuff that they have talked about themselves in the past, and then now connecting it with the new content that they're making. So, but anyways, enough about all that. Okay, so we finished this. We can talk to the counselor. So yeah, but eventually I stopped kind of making those videos because I just felt like no one was really interested in those, and it's kind of a shame. But is this the... yeah, that's the main quest. What is this quest? Oh yeah, no. Good. Okay, so now, yeah. But yeah, so I'm still gonna continue making some shorts for Guild Wars, and you know, I'll still make some news videos here and there, and I want to... there's a couple videos I still want to make, but I'm really trying to think of, because my thing also is, it's like, yeah, you know, it's fine if people aren't watching the videos, but there's one theory video that we didn't watch, but it was my Mist theory video, and it took me like 40 hours to make, and I didn't even get 900 views on it, and it was just kind of like really, you know, it was discouraging in a lot of ways, and it kind of made me realize that I want to just put more time into other things, and I want to find a way to grow the channel, and unfortunately that is not the way to do it. But I'm also not, because then I have people like, my sister will come up to me and she's like, well, why don't you make like build videos and stuff? And I'm like, because I don't like doing that. That's not content that I enjoy doing. Like, if I'm gonna do content for the channel, I want to do stuff that I enjoy, you know what I mean? So ooh. I love this map. This map is really, it's very dreary looking, but it's fun. Reminds me a lot of like Grandia 1 and 2 and how they portray like deserts and stuff. I feel like there's a lot of I see a lot there. I'm so powerful with this build. I'm just slicing through everything. Ooh, enemies. I wonder if Arena has anything planned for like new content for this game. I think one of the things, you know, talking about like Mish not being that interested in these releases, I think the releases they've done so far are more for the veteran base rather than creating a drive for new people to come into the game, you know what I mean? I think Reforged by itself was a little bit of that push, but it was also to kind of unify the three campaigns and be able to have, you know, to say we have one solid product and build on that from that point on, kind of thing. But yeah, we'll see what other updates they do. It sounds like to me that they have monthly, from what I understand, it sounds like they have monthly updates in like on the table, like they want to do a monthly update. I don't know if this is like, you know, oh, we're gonna do balance update every month, and then every 3 months we're gonna release like, you know, some kind of content of some sort, or if this is like, no, every month we want to do something completely different and like expand on the way. And like, yeah, once in a while that's gonna be a balance update, but we're gonna add like new modes and new things, and UI updates and usability updates and stuff like that. Always fun. Quality of life updates and usability updates and stuff like that. So it's the best. It's one of the best for any games like this. Yeah, take this. So nice. Yeah. My Strider is already level 17. He's my little birdie friend. Oh, God, I got knocked down. Weak as hell. It's a big bird, though. Look at that. That raven is like half the size of me. It's like a 4-foot raven. Snake bite. I love how Dunkoro never casts Judge's Insight on me. Target allies attacks deal holy damage and have 20% armor penetration. I really would love that. If you were to cast that on me. Oh, walked right by him. He never does. I wonder if that's some kind of thing. I don't know. Because I know he casts it, but I don't know who... Does he cast it on like... Does he cast it on like Milani and stuff? He casts that on Cos. Okay, and then he casts it on Milani. Love that. Big fan. Big fan. So I don't know if that's documented anywhere on the Judge's Insight. So he's casting it on the actual melee characters. So I guess I'm not. I guess in the AI I'm not considered. So I might take that out. Not that it's all about my damage all the time. I mean, maybe I'll leave that in there. Maybe it's doing some good on these other melee characters. I do want this to be like a melee character like build. Everyone's gonna get pets at some point too. I'm telling you guys. We're gonna have a whole zoo of characters. I just kind of want everyone to get to level 20 and then we can do that. Like, I could give Cos already a pet. What kind of Cos should... What kind of pet should we give Cos? I want to do something that's really Cos. Like, I want to do like a Warthog or... We could even do like a lion or something. I mean, I would have to like continue playing through through the story there. I don't know. I don't know what we have available for pets either. There's some Melandria Accord characters here. I'm just doing a Reforged. I don't care about being Melandria's Accord. But there's a looking for groups 12 and 13. that. Elder Gretchen.
You honor me.
Alright, couple more things here. I'm gonna take a short break here for a second. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna try to figure out short break. I'm gonna try to figure out what pet we're gonna get costs, and we're gonna get costs a pet just because. So let's do it. I'll be right back. All right, wake up, everyone. No sleeping on the job. Let's travel. Where are we traveling? Traveling there. Menagerie. Whatever it is. Yeah, whatever. Okaz, you will get a pet, and you're gonna. We'll take that out. I don't even need tactics that high. I need a tactics that high for that, right? So if I keep tactics at 9. That's good. I like that. I like animals. I want to see the menagerie. I didn't give him the charm thing. You know what? I know exactly what pet to get him. You guys will see. You guys will see. We have phoenixes here, reef lurkers. We've already collected a lot of them. More exotic. Hound of Balthazar. I want to see that as a aggressive hound. He's gonna get. Oh, some of them are not on fire. Well, he's gonna capture the one that's on fire. Why are you attacking me? He's gonna get an aggressive hound. Boom. Alright, cool. So he has a pet. I should do the other ones. Let's give the other ones pets too. Why not? I love pets. I'm huge on pets in games. So, well, in this game at least. Okay, so we in games, not in all games. I will tell you that. So you can just have comfort animal here. We'll kick you out. Zenmai? I mean, my guild was too bad, but more of a story player. What's that in reference to now? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I know. I don't wanna leave Guild Wars in any shape or form, you know. I really enjoy it for what it is, but yeah, but I'm right there with you. I'm gonna take that out. That's a lot. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I think ArenaNet needs to really do a good job. And keep the hype going. This update that just came out is really. Oh, she should have a Phoenix. 100%. Do we have like a? Do I have a level 20 Phoenix? I don't think I have a level 20 Phoenix, but I can probably get her a higher level Phoenix. Let's see. Would that be Cantha? Oh, I can. Okay. Something exotic. Elona's crocodile flamingo. Tyria has iguana money. So these are the things that I have unlocked right now. So let's do the Phoenix. Oh, I can do an aggressive Phoenix. Girl, you know what to do. Yeah, Zenmai with the Phoenix. Awesome. That's cool. And that's the thing, right? Like as the market becomes so saturated with games, and you know, some are good, some are bad, but many games, a lot of developers, like back in the day, like even like 10, 15 years ago, the market was very saturated, but it wasn't saturated with a lot of options for good online games. Like that was the time when, you know, WoW clones were like the thing. Everything was a WoW clone. Everyone was trying to beat it. But now games have really branched out and really trying to do different things. And I think that it's dangerous for developers to assume that uh, you know, they're the be all end all um, to the gaming world, right? Like let's see here. I want to take some of these out. EH3 energy, Mystic Sweep. We'll take that out. What kind of beast could Milani have? Hmm. Cantha, Reef Lurker, no. Mountain Eagle, Polar Bear, Raven, Iguana, White Wolf. I think a Flamingo would be cool. Oh, okay. I don't have a high level, so she'll just get a level 5. The Flamingos are over here. I thought they were. Are they not? I guess they're not. Oh, they're over there. They're further over there. The crocodile's over here. We could do a crocodile. But I kind of want to do a flamingo. But it's going to be level 5, so it's probably going to die a lot. Maybe I should do... The crocodile... But a flamingo is pretty unique, you know? Oh, they even have the little crabs here. Look at these guys. Yeah, it's fine. She can just do that. I don't care. I think that's all I'm gonna do for now, so let's just travel back to Land's Edge. But yeah, and it is, you know, and I don't want to read on that. I don't wish them, you know, any, there's no ill will, right? Like, I just, you know, I'm like just not really impressed with what's happening right now, so. I could have done Jin, but I didn't. As like giving her a pet. Why didn't I? I should really get Jin a pet. I could get her. Let's go back. What could I give Jin? Jin could have. Nope, you're losing partner, and you know, honestly, I don't. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't even care. Like, you know, I just. I'm gonna be honest. I thought partner was gonna be a little different. You know, again, not to downplay ArenaNet or whatever, you know. I just thought it's gonna be different, and it's not what I expected it to be. I'm gonna take that out. And I don't know, I thought it was gonna be a different experience. I thought it would be really, really good for my channel. I thought that I would get engagement, that there would be like some kind of drive to be working together with other people, and yeah, none of that. It doesn't really feel like any of that has happened. So again, nothing against ArenaNet, but it just, I'm like, yeah, even if I lose partner, I wouldn't be that mad about it, to be honest. Which is a shame, because I tried to work on it for so long, but it felt like right as I was at it in a group of like, I don't know, just you know, it just seems not what I expected. Ooh, I could do iguana for her. Let's do iguana. Let's do an aggressive iguana. Charm the thing, you stupid. No, no, stop it. Everyone stop attacking the thing. I didn't mean to go there. Okay. Dunkoro, Ogden. Oh, I added. Okay, no, I'm gonna kick out Jin. Add Zenmai. Alright, let's go in. Let's do the mission with the new pets. Right, we have a bunch of pets. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Wow, we're just overwhelming them with like this force, especially with having together as one. That's just like insane. More spiders are gonna come down. There they are. I knew it. I hate this mission. I don't enjoy this mission at all. It's really annoying. It's kind of tedious and it goes on forever. Do, do, do. Yeah, this is really strong. Together as one. We're just blasting through this. It's crazy. And I still need to actually do the other quests too. Someone leveled up. The flamingo leveled up. Oh, the flamingo died. So sad. Oh, I think I forgot to... Yeah, I think I still have charm on her. Whoopsies. Forgot to exchange that, so that flamingo is gonna be dead. That's fine. It still gets experience, I believe, even being dead on the ground. So... Hold the iron boot heal. That's like the longest name in history. Bam, bam. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Gotta talk to the tank, get the crystal, bring the crystal to the pedestal. Boop. So fast. I mean, I know they're not super high level, but I want to see how, like, you know, the Lich and stuff, the final boss, how fast that goes. Gotta go this way, I guess. I always go the wrong way because I always forget where I need to go. I think I need to go this way. I think I go through here. Oh, the group got split up. I'm like, why? Where is everyone? Alright, come on, guys. Oh, so I clicked outside the window. I'm gonna finish up this mission. I'm gonna head out after that. I want to record some more episodes, and then tomorrow I'm gonna do some other stuff for the channel. Oh my god, there's so many people. That's fine. We'll just kill them all real quick. I'm not too worried about it. Boom. Savant, take this. Can you guys stop running around, please? Oh, I'm glad. Thank you, Mentaig. Is that how you pronounce that? Probably. I didn't pronounce that right. I probably pronounced that wrong. But thank you. I appreciate it. I will be doing a few more of those. I don't know how many of Guild Wars 1 I will do. It's kind of hard to find little facts. It was so much easier for Guild Wars 2 than for Guild Wars 1. I will tell you what. And it's super hard to do it for the expansions in Guild Wars 2. Because as you guys know, I'm trying to get to that point where I I wanted to do the expansion content in Guild Wars 2 for like lore bits. Holy crap, is that tough to do? Tell you what. But yeah, I appreciate it. We were just watching a couple of my videos earlier, but those are all like Guild Wars 2 related videos. Alright, you give me that. Put that here. And I gotta get a new one. I love that they're teaching you the mechanics of this, and then they have you go in and do that. For real. Oh, damn. No chance. My army is so much stronger. Do I get another? Oh, I get another one from here. I get another one from here. Dee dee dee. Love that crystal. Looks cool. Alright, so now we gotta do... Ugh, I always hate this one. You gotta be faster than the enemy team. That's really stupid. If you have like speed... Oh, I love how that animation broke. Speed boost here really helps, but... Do I have anything that... Oh, your pet attack says... Oh, no, okay. You and your pet attack faster, right? Yeah, yeah. It's not faster movement. Stop them. Stop them before they get there. I'm gonna try to run on my own. I think they're gonna try to come through the middle, right? Is that how that works? Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go to that horn pedestal. They should be coming over here because they have both of these. Right? Or are they gonna come here? No, they're gonna come down here. Wait, where are they going? Oh, no. Cut them off. Attack, everyone! Get that guy right there. Dead. Body block them. Cheap technique, but it's whatever. Oh no, the Seeker has a crystal. They went around. That's not fair. It's not fair at all. Fine, attack them. Go. Attack them right here. What are you guys doing? Where are you guys going? What? I'm literally targeting this guy. You guys are so stupid. This is much better with fellow players. I'm collecting these. They're gonna come our way. Oh. Aren't they? Wait, no, they're coming this way. I know they are. They're coming around this way. Get this guy. Yeah, block him. Body block him. Just dead. He's up. Alright. I'm gonna drop that off there. You guys can all follow me. Have a new runner already? Oh, gee. I love how they instantly spawn a new runner. Get that guy. Block him in the path. I hate this mission so much. It's so stupid. It drives me crazy. You go away. My good God. Leave me alone. Dude, this is so annoying. How is he following me still? Did they just get... They got the other one. Oh my god. So frustrating. Where are you guys going? I'm way over here. Oh my god, is it just like... I think it's lag. I'm done with you. I'm killing you now. Where they're going over here. This sucks. I hate this mission so much. I'm not fast enough to put those down. Can I somehow stop the No! You're not getting to do that. Can I steal their pedestal crystal? So they never get another one, ever? It's mine now. I'm killing this guy. Is he the bonus? I think he's the bonus. I'm actually doing the... I will avenge you. No, you won't. Everyone, attack! Boom. Bonus done. Is that it? Do they not spawn another guy? Yeah, the mission's about to be done, so I'm gonna head out in a second. Have a good night, Mish King. I'll see you later. I might stream tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. I might do some ESO or something tomorrow. Who knows? I stole their crystal. I love that. Oh, I could have gone the other way out of the camp there. I guess there is a way to stop them from spawning, so they're clearly not spawning anymore. Yeah, I want to do more ESO. I want to like level my character more. Like I'm getting kind of up there now with my stuff. All right, we did it! Yay! Oh, we just get teleported. Boom, done. Oh, the flamingo came back to life. Well, that's nice. Flamingo leveled another level too. For March 9th. Yeah, that update is coming pretty soon too, and I am using the I'm using the Ardent Flame line from the Dragon Knight, so it'll be nice to actually get that update. But I think I'm gonna record some more Painted Grail tonight, so I want to get like a bunch of episodes out. Like I'm gonna be doing daily uploads. This stuff is coming out, you guys. I'm really enjoying that game so far. Like a lot. And then I think that the next. I think what I'm gonna do for the next poll, I'm only gonna pick games that I have not played yet. I wanna play a brand new game that I've never played before. Kano was great. Kano was a brand new game that I've never played before. Never played it before. Never had seen any videos about it, so it was really, really cool. I really loved that, and I want to kind of do that again. I want to go into like a new gaming experience of like, you know. So I'm gonna pick that. I think I was on 3 or 4. Yeah, so you have like 3 or 4 episodes to watch. Because it's 7 came out today, but then 8 will come out tomorrow, and then 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've recorded up until 13. If I record some more tonight, there will be probably just a bunch. And I'm not even done with Act 1 yet. Like, I've barely even done, probably, I don't know, I'm like halfway through Act 1 right now, I want to say, like, story and exploration-wise. So, clearly there's going to be another few in Act 1. I don't know, I think the end of it is going to go a little faster, but yeah, so there's a lot of content, and then there's like 2 other acts, right, and then there's like the end to the game as well, so... The hinge gone. Have a good night. Right, we did it. The end. Boom. And we're at the Henge of Dinrabi. One of those like really cool places that they don't at all explore in Guild Wars 1, and then in 2 they barely even acknowledge that they ever existed. And like they never indulge us with what really makes this place so magical, right? Like we have this fountain, which is kind of the signature there, you know. It's kind of weird, and they have these like weird towers. Like weird towers that look kind of magical. Very the way they look is very Castoran, right? This kind of reminds me of like how there's all this ambient magic on Castora. Kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, you have all these like different areas. You have this big tree with collectors around it. Very empty area, not a lot going on. I wonder if these areas were ever like very populated. Like specifically this, because this is probably one of, if not the biggest outpost in all of Guild Wars. It's so huge. Because there's that main area that we were in, the path that leads to it, this area up here, and then I know of at least one, I think there's 2 more areas that are in this outpost. We have this area here. Oh yeah, we have this area, which is like kind of this is like the merchant area, right? And that leads out to the Tangled Root. And then we have there's another area, so we have that area over there. I don't think that leads anywhere. Is that where we came from, or is this where we came from? I think this is where we just came from, right? That's the path. Yeah, that's the path that led us here. And then we have the dock here for the cool boats that they use. They're cool, like, plant-like boats. I love the idea of everything made out of plants like that. I wish the Sylvari had led a little bit more. They did, you know, with they had some bridges and they had buildings and stuff like that, but they didn't it's Carlotta the spider, but they didn't do like boats and stuff. I felt like there was kind of missing the whole like Sylvari fisherman. And then we have this area here, which has this like old ancient, you know, there's nothing here, but it's this glowing tree stump with nothing there. Right, this is like a huge outpost. This is massive with nothing in it. It's crazy. Right, and this leads, again, this is the other side of, that's the dock there where we just were. And this river leads into the Tangled Root, which this river leads down. This is the Dark River. Remember, I made a whole short about the Dark River, and this actually feeds into the same pond at the very end where the Dark River feeds into. This little lake, this little pond that they have up there. I'm trying to see what other areas. So we had this leads me, okay, so they spawned me here. Yeah, they spawned us right here. Where does this lead? Didn't they spawn us? They didn't spawn us here, did they? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure spawn was right in front of those. I remember seeing those as we spawned in. So this has a path. Okay, this leads to where the Guardian was. The Guardian was down there. We fought that Guardian. But yeah, this like ambient magic that's like surrounded by like the trees grow around it. That's very Castoran, isn't it? It's so weird. So was the Henge of Denravi another thing that the Seers, like, was that something they created as well? I mean, I don't know if Castora is the way because of the Seers, or were the Seers there because of how Castora was? Where does this lead? That's my question. I don't think I've ever gone all the way down here. Oh, it just leads to like a gate out here. Oh, there's a portal there. Do you guys see that? There's a portal right there. That's so weird. There's nothing that leads in here, right? Oh, is this the arena? That might be the arena. I think that might be the PvP arena out there. Yeah, I think that's what that is. Out here. That's the PvP arena. The Maguma Jungle arena. Because I think every large outpost that has like this tower symbol on it, they all have like their own arena. There's a Lion's Arch arena somewhere too. I forgot where that even is. I know Yak's Bend has an arena, but it doesn't have that tower symbol. There's a Yak's Bend arena here. Ascon City has like an arena somewhere. I think it's over here or over here or somewhere. Okay, interesting. But yeah, this is a massive outpost for no reason. There's no people here. They didn't put any Shining Blade. They do have some Shining Blade over there in that corner, but other than that, we don't really see any. Oh, and Kira has some quests. Let's check that out before I head out. So.
May the gods protect you.
I'm Master Scout. I will caution you to take care while you're in Denravi. I'll be watching you. Okay.
I've heard much of you.
Is there anything I can do to help? If any has ordered a raid into White Mantle territory, you're strong enough to help us. River Docs. Okay, so why is she giving me the quest stuff? And then I can... Okay, weird. Anywho, that's going to be it for today. I appreciate everyone that was here discussing, watching my videos with me. And yeah, if you guys are interested in more, I'm always down for a discussion. You guys can join the Discord. I've kind of not been posting a lot on Discord. I haven't really been doing much on there, but I'm always kind of seeing the discussion that's happening and stuff. So, but yeah, I'll probably be back tomorrow night. Like I said, there is a Tainted Grail playthrough going on the channel right now. If you guys are interested in like a cool Skyrim type of game with like HR Giger design, like some alien designs on top of like Legends of King Arthur and like, you know, that type of stuff, make sure to check that out. And I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow night. We'll see. I'm not sure. So appreciate you guys. See you then.